business cards for $9.99.
That's
less than 2 cents per card. Don't let the price fool you. Vistaprint uses only carefully selected inks and paper stocks, so your satisfaction is absolutely guaranteed.
When did you get back?
Every time, for any reason. You'll find dozens
When did I get back?
just
Monday?
for your
Yeah, so you were just here? No.
contact information.
I got back.
Yeah.
I had that whole week off of July 4th.
Then the following week. And start today.
I came back on the weekend, but I came back to work.
$9.99 at Vistaprint.com. Use promo code 9292.
It was so hot.
That's
Oh, I know. We're going down there next
promo
week.
code 9292.
For the lobster season. Dive for lobster.
I only dive for one thing, but it's not in the water. I like to go
Troubleshooter Show.
I like to go cliff diving.
Now, Tom Martino, the Troubleshooter.
Hi, Tom Martino, not water. Hi, Tom Martino, your Troubleshooter. We were talking about our favorite pastimes off the air.
I could not imagine you cliff diving. No way. I know you're not telling the truth there.
I said, no, I didn't mean that. I meant like, what I meant was, what are you, cave,
Kaplunking?
what do they call that?
Cave diving?
No, it's
yeah, well, cave exploring.
spelunking.
Anyway, 303-71. I use the word dive wrongly. So welcome, people. Hey, listen, this is the only show of its kind anywhere you'll ever find, because we talk about things no one else talks about. Everyday aches and pains, the things that tick you off, the things that make you tick. I want to make a difference in people's lives. That's the entire purpose of this show. And I like to explore areas where no other media goes. Truly, that's what I like to do, where no other media goes. So when you have a problem, we like to expose people. We like to take care of people. I used to have a foundation. Frankly, the reason I got rid of it is because it was too much bookwork and stuff for the IRS. Because when you have a charter that says you're going to do consumer education or you're going to help consumer victims, and you do something else, you can get in trouble. Not that I don't mean like I've used money personally. I've never done that. I've never used a dime of the foundation money ever for anything but the foundation. Not even processing expenses, office expenses, accounting. It was all donated. And I don't want to have a foundation, but I want to do something. This show's been on the air for around 40 years in Denver, nearly 40 years. I've been doing radio. I have the longest running, honest-to-God radio show with a continual host in the country. We make a difference, okay? A lot of you only listen because you want help, and then you never listen again, or you may just tune in because you need help and you call us, and you may go to another list and find somebody and then come to us when you have a problem. We take care of problems for all the other lists, even though referralist.com is there all the time for people. I'm saying this for one reason. I need to get back to direct help where we've been falling short. We have people being taken advantage of every single day really badly. I mean, really bad. I'm going to explain some situations, and I need to know how to handle it. I'm going to ask my guest today, John Fuller, Fuller Law. He's an attorney. He does personal injury. But I want to know how we can help these people beyond what we're doing on the air and exposing the bad guys. Because we're finding actual patterns of abuse. And I don't know why, but I can't let it go. I can't just say goodbye to these people on the air and wish them the best. Even though we've done everything we could to expose the bad guy, we've gone out and looked at their job, we've given them advice, I want to go further. I want to be able to help them in court or to bring these wrongdoers to justice. But what I'm finding is these wrongdoers have a bigger bank account than these consumers, and they intimidate them. So they threaten them. I want to go further. I want to be a legal and ethical way to kick their ass. I want to stop the bullying, because there's too much bullying going on. The radio show does a good job, but we have to go further. And I don't know how to do it. I don't know if we do a GoFundMe or some kind of an association. I am not looking for a penny for myself. This is only to take people on legally. And, by the way, at dead costs and wholesale rates. And I'm not talking about charging for anything and getting attorneys at dead cost. This is not this is not something to pad anyone's pockets, but I'll give you some examples of injustice that we must handle. And I need to know a way to raise money to do that. We need to do it. And when you hear the problems, you'll want it. And sometimes this will help you if you get into trouble. You know, we have to go that step beyond. We have to get back into litigation. We were doing minor litigation free of charge. But it's getting to a point now where some of these people are using the court system as a slap, it's called. Now, in general, a slap suit was they said it was a suit against, to make things, give you a brief history lesson, corporations and individuals who were in power would do a slap lawsuit on people who complained or had a consumer problem or an employee who blew a whistle. They would file lawsuits against them and bury them economically in court as a way of punishing them. They had no intention of winning money or doing anything in court. They just brought a lawsuit just to slap them. And slap stood for something, but basically it was a lawsuit against public interest or something. And then there became anti-slap legislation, where in California, for example, if they find that you are doing a lawsuit to retaliate, that you can be responsible for the other person's attorney's fees. I'll go on more about this later on. This show is intelligent, it's entertaining, it's helpful, it's direct. It's the only show anywhere. People, this goes far beyond me. Please tell people about it, and let's help people. I mean this from the bottom of my heart. I want to help people beyond just being on the air. John Fuller, welcome.
Good morning.
You know what goes on during the breaks, how pissed off we get about certain cases. No, seriously. And have you heard of slap lawsuits?
Strategic lawsuit against public participation.
Okay, so it means that these people, like this one woman I'll give you an example of, she's being punished, and they slap her with a lawsuit, and
just to shut her up.
Just to shut her up and to make her hurt. To make her hurt. Okay, we'll go on. I want to take Tim quickly because he only has a limited time. And Tim called in yesterday. So, Tim, what's happening with you, sir?
Good morning, Tom.
Hi.
So we had back in December of last year, we had Empire Carpet come in, and it was a $3,000 job to do 5 bedrooms. The Berber carpet we had before was 15 years old. It was time to change it out. So we went with another Berber because it held up really well, and they installed it, and then a couple weeks later we noticed that there was a seam that was kind of coming apart in our master bedroom. So we called them out for service. Due to the holidays, they didn't have, and our schedule, their schedule, whatever, they didn't come out until January 31st. They came out and tried to repair it, but it didn't look right.
I don't see the seam in the photos. I don't know what I'm looking at, but I see it.
It's hard to tell because of the carpet pattern, being the Berber.
Okay, when you say, so it's a seam, and seams are not unheard of, and this seam is in a place where you can see it, or it's coming, when you say coming apart.
It's directly in the middle of the master bedroom and the main walkway when you come into the room.
Yeah.
So it's noticeable right off the bat when you walk into the room.
Okay, so the photo doesn't show it as well, but okay, so I'll take you at your word. There's a bad seam. So what about the seam?
So they came in and tried to repair it, and it still didn't look right. So
now, as I see, if this is what I do see, the bad seam, there's only about 6 inches of where it's coming apart. Only about 6 inches.
That's exactly right. But it's just
there's a 6-inch mark, a 6-inch section of the seam. If you look,
well, I wouldn't bring these photos to court.
No, it looks like. Okay, here, let me show John Fuller here. Do you see that? That's what he's talking about. Let's. If you look at it, it's this. He's talking about that shadowing. That is a seam that's showing. Is it actually coming apart?
Not anymore, because they came in with like some kind of a plastic welder or something and kind of stuck a bead of something in there.
Yeah, they put some backing on it and then iron it down. So what happened then?
So it's still, now it's kind of raised up there, and there's like a piece of carpet missing. So we called them back out again. They came out in March, and all
right, so let's get right to it. You still aren't happy with it?
That's correct. So
okay. It all comes down to
contractor look at it, and he told us that they probably snagged it on the install and tried to repair it, and unfortunately it's showing through, and really what should be done is that strip of carpet should probably be pulled back and replaced.
Well, how much of carpet is it? Is it half the room?
I couldn't tell you because I can't see where the other seam is. The rest of the install is not bad. It's just this one section.
So what do they say they're going to do for you?
So on the last time that the service man came out, he had me sign just saying that he came out to look at, and he was going to call.
What do they say they're going to do for you?
They're saying it's pet damage now.
Pet damage?
Yep.
What do they mean?
Well, they're saying they just said it's pet damage.
What do you have? What do you have? What kind of dog, cat? What do you have?
I have cats.
Okay, well, that can be easily assessed with an inspector.
Yeah, and I've had a general contractor look at it.
Well, I'm not talking about it. I'm not talking about a general contractor. I'm talking about a carpet inspector.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if we're going to call them and they're just going to say we're covering it because it's pet damage, we're going to come right back to the spot. You have to get a carpet inspector. We used to have a floor covering inspector on the referral list. I don't know of any anymore. There were some really good ones. They don't charge that much at all. I mean, they are literally floor covering inspectors. In fact, let's call Paradigm Interiors for a second and talk to them. Send them the photos, please, and see what we can do with Paradigm on the line just to assess it. And then I want to ask them a few questions. That's easy enough. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. We have John Fuller with us from Fuller Law, personal injury attorney. I would imagine, John, when weather is like this, and there probably aren't as many accidents in the summer. I'm just flat out saying that you probably have a slow season. Is that fair to say when it's good weather or not?
Interestingly enough, Tom, we really don't. I mean, different seasons bring different types of accidents. So in the summer, you're going to see recreational type accidents like pedestrian vehicle, bicycle accidents, water skiing stuff. I mean, you're going to see everything that happens when people are outdoors.
Okay. Speaking of cycling, I wanted to talk about that because cars are almost always in the wrong, right? In a cycling accident?
No, I don't think so.
Have you found where cyclists were injured, and they didn't have to pay? The people did not have to pay?
I've certainly had motorcycle cases where the motorcyclist was at fault. Yeah, I mean...
Okay.
You're talking bicycles, though, aren't you, Tom?
I'm talking about
people with the weird helmets. Oh, motor. Okay.
Cycling. Bicycles.
Yeah, bicycles.
Yeah.
Weird looking.
Anyway, we'll come back to this and more. I'm Troubleshooter Tom Martino.
Weird.
Hello.
John said there are a bunch of queers.
Down the street exit. Southbound. That's still slugging.
Move the restroom.
They're on the carpet. Slow down. That's good one. You put a chair there?
How's your bedroom laid out? I mean, let's talk about
full cross Commerce City, westbound heavy from Quebec to
I'll guarantee you there's people out there, even though the bed can cover it.
God,
Forecast.
in our neighborhood, about every 2 weeks, there'll be 100 of them that get together. State patrols out there. They do nothing but make my life miserable. And I'm sure they did it when I moved there. I'm pretty sure they followed me. I hate it.
We're not bad people, Mark. It's okay. You can express yourself.
They are. Most of them. They hog the road. They don't do the speed. Speed limit's 50. They're doing like 20.
Stop signs don't matter.
Can't stand the sons of bitches.
They don't stop either.
They're
even arrogant.
They're not only arrogant, they're angry. They're angry people.
They're waiting for you to hit them.
They're angry. They're angry attorney, a honorable defense attorney. They with a snarl on their face. They hate motorists. They think everyone's out to get them, and they don't follow any of the laws that they want us to follow. Is the camera on me? It's like, I'm not going to ask questions, but I will say,
if the curve was a real move system, you know what the purge was? You didn't see the purge. Did you see the purge?
Of course, we also.
Oh my gosh! So in the future, one day a year, I forget what day it is. One day a year, there's no laws. You can do anything. So you can murder people. You can do whatever you want and get away with it. So that one day you could run over these cyclists all day long.
Yeah, but these people can kill you too. During your purge, you better hide.
Well, you better have some good security. Seriously,
You go underground.
You do, man.
This is Joe.
I can't believe it. You didn't anybody for Paradigm yet?
I don't see any lines on.
Don Taylor's on vacation, so I texted him asking who I could get with.
You know what's funny? It's
You
kind
can
of
call
like
the store and just ask for
you were a
anyone.
smoker at one time, right?
Okay.
Just tell them we're on the air right now. Please get somebody.
Butts and stuff, you know.
Unauthorized.
100% of smokers said, I never throw my butts on there. Just like 100% of bicyclists say, yeah, I follow the stop sign.
No, they don't.
I know, but they say they do. They say they do.
Speaking of that,
US-based
I smoked years ago, like 20 years ago. I
Never
want to go
threw a
after
butt
the
on.
tobacco companies. I want a refund on every cigarette I purchase. And then I want a percentage of my lungs. So, where do I
I
sign?
think John was very.
I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to give you, if you handle the costs, if you handle the hard costs and the litigation, I will give you 6% of whatever you buy.
Oh, man, that's hard to pass up.
You have high interest credit card debt.
And the card is
loans, and
Yeah.
never get ahead making the minimum payment every month. Hi, this is Ross Kaminsky
God,
from my
what a-
friends at American Financing, and probably you're right.
What a
American
business.
Financing can help you.
You gotta
By
give it to
consolidating
the
your high
tobacco
interest debt into
companies.
one
It's an
thing.
incredible interest.
Did you know you can refinance up to
It's
85%
amazing.
of your
They
home's
probably have
value?
the best
This could
lobbyists
allow
in
you
the
to start
world.
saving
That's not true.
$100,000
The gun lobbyists
every
are
month.
unbelievable.
Rates are still near
There's
historic
Remington
lows. So
or-
talking to you right now,
Which one is it?
expected to
I don't
increase
think it's
in
Remington, it's,
American Financing.
one of them has a trigger
Salary
that occasionally goes off.
conversations are simple.
And you realize they can't make a gun manufacturer do a recall? Did you know that?
I don't know about that, but I know something like that. And they sued the guy for $10 million.
They did
A volunteer recall. They can't, unlike other things, the government can't force them to do a recall.
Or online. American Finance.
How do you know that, Mark?
I saw a whole documentary on it. It's not Remington, though. It's
Try again, Tom.
it's a faulty trigger.
Yeah, right. You know what? The times I make it, no one ever sees it. Okay, Tom, this is for $1 billion. $1 billion.
8 pieces of Christian double-breaded extra.
You got too much force behind it. You gotta have some art there.
Who gets that billion?
Off the back of the
On a chainsaw box, they've got to have warnings, you know, not to use or hold the chain while it's on. But on a gun, when you buy it,
Empty your bank account. It's mind back.
Kareem,
Okay, that's what I said.
I'm thinking,
Sean,
But I disagree with some people that have done. I know there's been lawsuits.
no, I wasn't in the gym, though. I wasn't in the gym, sorry.
because it's a lie.
There you go.
It's like,
it is freaking around.
So hang on a minute.
6:30, K-How.
you got it. Hey!
Still not recall has.
I'm Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. Tim's got a Berber carpet and the seam's bad. They're saying it's pet damage. He's saying it's not. We'll get right back to him. Our experts, we're lining up right now. We'll see what's going on, see what we can do about it. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. John Fuller with us from Fuller Law, personal injury attorney. Also just a fun guy, so he might just chime in here. But if you ever need him, just remember his name, Fuller. It's really easy. And I want to talk to Trudy about Costco. Not sure what it's about. Go ahead, Trudy.
Well, I just want to tell you, I called you, I think, 2 weeks ago about Tagawa
Yes, nursery.
and how wonderful they are.
Yes.
Well, I went to Costco this last weekend, and they don't carry the salad dressing I like to get over at Park Meadows.
Yeah.
So, and that was a destination.
You know what? I'm going to get directly involved in this. You tell me what salad dressing that is, and I'm going to go shake up.
No, she's going to tell us what happened. Go ahead.
So I called the manager.
Yes.
And he said, well, we have some at the Parker place. And I said, well, that's too far for me. He had someone go out and get 3 bottles of that salad dressing, brought it to Park Meadows.
That's great. No, it is.
Great. Wait till you hear this. So then I go to pay, and they wouldn't even let me pay because they said it was my inconvenience.
You know what? That's so nice. You know what's nice about it? That means you're going to tell so many people about that. That's what's great about it. And people, that's what they need to do in business if you can. Just a little extra when you don't have to. That's cool. Jeanette is telling me a story here I don't believe. Go ahead, Jeanette.
Hi. On Tuesday, I happened to notice one on my email saying that renew your subscription on August the 9th for $2,999.
What? A magazine?
No, it's the investment called Zacks. investment newsletter.
It's a newsletter, and how much does it cost?
$2,999.
No, it doesn't.
It
no,
does.
$3,000 for a newsletter?
Right. Okay, but I did try this subscription.
No, wait. So you wanted...
No, I didn't. I mean, they said you can, like, for $1, you can do a trial. So
and if you wanted it, though, if you wanted it...
No, I did not know.
But if you did, after the trial,
No, after the trial, I did not want it because it's
Jeanette,
not for me.
I understand. I'm just asking, just because there are people listening, this is a trial, but if you did want it, it would cost you around...
$2,999
oh, no.
a year, right?
God!
It's like about 20 newsletters in there.
Okay.
Which I did not. I mean,
all right.
I tried it.
So what happened then?
And so on August 6th last year, I canceled it. I said, it's not for me. So they canceled it. And it's on their record, right? So I thought, I'm done with this. And then if I remember correctly, I did not get, like, they will, email you every day about something, on their different newsletter. I remember, if I remember correctly, I did not receive anything for a long time. But lately, all of a sudden, I see it, there's some kind of newsletter in there.
Okay, so what are we doing right now?
Okay.
They charge your credit card, right?
No, then on August 6th, I canceled 2016.
Okay.
August the 9th, they said they charged me $2,999. They said, I authorized it. I said no, I didn't.
Listen, we don't have to go through all this.
Okay.
If you have an unauthorized charge, just contest it. They don't have any proof that they don't have a writ. Do they have a signed authorization? What do they have?
No, when you first do the trial, you have to give them your credit card.
Well, I know that, but that doesn't mean that you want it. Just did you go to your credit card company and cancel it?
Well, because I didn't know.
Okay, here's what you need to know. What credit card is it?
Discover card.
Discover. And they said to you that you authorized it after the trial. Is that right?
Well, Discover card did not say that.
Not Discover. The newsletter.
The newsletter. Yes, that's what. No, but then on their records show that I canceled it on August the 6th. But 3 days later, they charged the phone.
No, I understand. How do you know their records show that you canceled it? Did they tell you that?
It's on my record. It's on my record. On my account.
But do you have a copy of that?
Yes, I do.
How'd you get a copy of that?
Because I went through some research. So I went into.
But how'd you get a copy of it?
It's on my account.
Which account, dear?
On my subscription account.
Really? So did you print that out so they can't erase that?
No, I copied it. Yeah, I printed
it out. Good.
So it says here.
So listen, that's all you have to do then. You contact Discover Card or you do it online. Every credit card has a means for contesting a charge. You contest the charge and you simply say you did not order it. Most credit cards will side with you every single time. They will almost always side with you.
Listen to what he just said, though. You got to tell him you know nothing about it. Nothing.
Well, no, you can tell.
Really
if she says that she signed up and it was
Mark,
free and blah, blah, blah,
Mark,
she's cooked.
No, that's not true. The trials are done all the time. The point is, they're going to, if she gets into that lie where she says, I know nothing about it, they'll say, how did they get your number? I wouldn't go there. I would simply say this.
Their trial says if you don't cancel, they're going to charge you X amount.
I understand.
And that's what they did.
So I would simply say, I know nothing about it, period. Nothing about it. Now, if they bring it up as an argument that she had a trial and didn't cancel it, or if the credit card company says, well, how'd they get your number? Then you show them that statement and say, yes, I had a trial, but as you can see, I canceled it. Here is proof on their website that I printed out, and also they charged me 2 days after I canceled. Jeanette, most credit card companies will side with you on that. You're not going to have a problem. Now listen, I just want to tell you, we have someone who says they know about carpet. How'd you find Ed, Suzanne, or did he just call in?
He called in.
Let's talk to Ed. And Ed, Tim was calling, and we were trying to get one of our experts on, and we're going to get someone to go out and look at it. But first, we wanted to discuss it, and we can't do that right now. They're not available. But what do you have to say about this? It's a Berber carpet. It had a seam lift up in about 6-inch space. They claim it's now pet damage. Ed.
Yeah.
So, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Well, my first question would be, is the seam a vertical seam at a horizontal door frame?
I don't know what you mean. I don't know. It's in the middle of the room, and what do you mean by a horizontal frame? I mean seam. I've never heard of a vertical seam on a floor.
Is the frame perpendicular at an entryway into the room?
No.
Okay.
No, it's just straight across the middle of the room.
Okay. So, a lot of times with the residential carpets, they have to be stretched in. So you have a tack strip along the perimeter of the room.
Right, that's right.
They have the knee kickers that stretch the carpet.
Right.
And then you put the seams together. You have your seam tape and your iron.
Right.
And that's what creates the seam.
Right.
So if there is say for instance, an installer made a bad cut.
Okay.
And you put the carpet at the seam,
right,
and you kick it to stretch it onto the tack strip, and if it's not a good cut, you're going to induce extra tension on that seam.
Makes sense.
Wherever you have less carpet.
Right, makes sense.
From the miscut.
And it'll pull away a bit.
It will pull away.
So
now,
it's very light. But is that easy to tell when you look at it? In other words, Ed, could you tell? In other words, could you tell if it was done by an installer or if it was a cat damage? I don't know how a cat can stretch apart.
No. Yes, you can definitely tell it's installation related, as opposed to a cat is not going to pull apart a properly seamed carpet.
To me, looking at the picture, it looks more like a cat.
No, how, Mark?
You must be looking at something else. I don't know how you even see a seam. I'm going to come look at yours.
Okay, but here's what I want to know. A cat, he says, can't pull up a seam. How would a cat...
a properly sealed seam? I've never in my entire career heard of a cat pulling apart a seam.
Neither have I.
I don't know how long that seam has been pulled apart.
Well, listen, what are you, Ed? What are you, a carpet...
Yeah, I've been a manufacturer's rep with the largest carpet manufacturer in the world for over 11 years.
For Shaw Industries?
That's correct.
Okay, Tim.
Yes.
What kind of carpet is yours?
It's a Shaw.
And where are you located?
In Erie.
Erie, damn it. Okay. All these people that I want to do help with, they're all in
Firestone the other day. Erie's just another puddle jump.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, I will be up front with you. I mean, I'm not with Shaw anymore, but I heard you guys on the radio.
No, but I needed somebody. I wanted somebody to eyeball it. These photos suck, really. I wish we could get better photos.
Well, here's the deal: your dealer, your installer, risks replacing a lot more than just that one seam due to dye lots. If he can no longer get the carpet to match the dye lot of the adjacent piece that he seamed to, then he runs the risk of having to replace the whole area.
Okay, here's what.
So Tom, can I interject here real
quickly?
So the last time they came out, the installer, the serviceman, told me that the carpet was defective. They don't even sell it anymore, and because they've had so many problems with it. And then they were going to talk to the home office. The home office then came back when I called them back because I didn't hear from them.
And said it was pet damage.
And said it was pet damage, and that they would replace the carpet in that room at a discounted rate, but it wouldn't be the same carpet. And that's where we were like, well, that's why we had all 5
In my opinion, Empire sucks to begin with.
No, it does. It does. It does. Tim, here's what we're going to do. Listen, we're going to send someone from Paradigm out. Or we're going to have them first look at the pictures. But really, I think they will be able to tell if it's a bad seam or not. They can send one of their installers, and we can follow this through. Paradigm Interiors, they're good people. By the way, how did you decide to go with Empire? I'm just curious.
Well, actually, we had Carpet Exchange lined up, and Empire called us back and said, hey, we'd like to come out, and we've got some different carpets we want to show you that's close to what you want.
But next time,
switch deal.
Next time, Paradigm, I'm serious. You get the same prices as all the big guys, but you get better service. Paradigm Interiors, and they're on Evans. If you go just west of Santa Fe, it's actually on the corner of Pecos and Santa Fe. There's parking there, and they're right on the corner. And they've been in business since '03, and they have all of this product plus more, even waterproof stuff. 303 is their number, 303-630-9204. If you're looking for a beautiful smile, Aurora Orthodontics.
So you understand all of my notes about the log, right? Thank you.
Me? Yes. Dan has a call lined up. So basically, this guy did work for a fabrication company in Castle Rock, and he's owed 10 grand. The company goes under, so he sends the letter from the attorney. It's Cutner Brynan. And I just wonder. I mean, this is a company gone bankrupt that's not paying a vendor.
They haven't went bankrupt.
Okay, they haven't gone bankrupt because Cutner Brynan. They're bankruptcy, corporate bankruptcy attorneys.
The letter didn't say that they're going bankrupt. They're just shutting the doors. Is what these heat patches do.
Have you tried a compression sock? That I don't know how you put it up here.
Okay, here.
So I guess I'm just wondering if this is airworthy or not at this point. Because if they've done bankruptcy, there's this vendor's screwed.
So I'll tell you a couple things on this. What he did, fabricated, they put it in Apple stores. The lawyer or the accountant said they would settle this $10,000 in for $4,000 as long as he signed off. They wouldn't go after these Apple stores.
Necessary financial planning for retirement.
Oh, the caller said that.
The caller said
says if you give me $4 grand, we won't go after the Apple stores.
That's what that company's accountant told the caller.
Radio is the leader. AM/FM.
So
that tells me.
So the company's offering $4 grand for the 10 grand.
As long as they sign off.
That they won't go after. Well, then maybe the guy needs to go after Apple. The Apple stores.
That's very possible on this, and that's
He's
what
looking
tells
for
me
he's looking for a lien waiver is basically what it
right.
is.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
And so just don't waive your lien. You have rights under the contractor's laws for, and I'm not fluent in them at all, but if you don't pay a sub, you can file a lien on the damn property.
That's right. And
I guarantee you Apple will tune their ass up if they get a lien slapped on them. And certainly you go to execute that lien, you're going to have Apple all over you. You get your 10 grand that quick,
And like I say, so this guy...
So what does he want our help for? Why doesn't he just say, forget it, I'm going after Apple?
He doesn't know what to do. If that's the best thing, to take $4 grand, what should he do? And what are his options? He's a small businessman over here in Inglewood.
Okay.
And he said this company, actually, this guy has a big one, but he said they don't say they're going bankrupt. He said they don't.
But Cutner Brynan they're corporate bankruptcy. They're the ones that did our corporate.
Gotcha.
So when I saw that letter, I saw Cutner Brynan. Oh, this is Jeff.
No, I was looking for something. I'm sorry.
You could call him and
I wasn't asking you to come in. I just lost.
You could call him and say, hey, Jeff, what's going on? He likes you guys.
Client, attorney privilege, or whatever it's called.
Well, first of all, I don't think Jeff bullshit. So the honest to God truth is if North Star Bank does hold a blanket lien, so I'd want to see the UCC filings on all the assets, the cash, the accounts, the receivables, and if that's true, I'd take the $4 grand and run. But if they don't have it, I'd
So what's going on? Is this the vendor can't get paid?
Right.
It should go after Apple.
Hurt my ears because the attorney was Cutner Brynan. Remember Jeff Brynan? We had in a few times the bankruptcy, corporate bankruptcy.
What does Apple have to do?
And so I was like, well, if they're gone bankrupt, what's the point of getting this on the air? The guy's not getting paid. But it sounds like they haven't yet, but they're getting ready to.
The guy not getting paid is
put in Apple stores.
He did fabrication for Apple stores.
He's got to sign
No,
off.
wait a minute. Wait a
Apple
second.
stores.
How would you lean Apple? So you're saying if
Apple's going
bankrupt, I design a
the company subbed the guy calling in. There was a company who subbed him for fabrication for Apple stores. He's going, should I put liens on the Apple stores, or should I take the settlement of $4 grand?
against Apple.
Should I put this on the air? That's all. You already have the letter.
I think it's great for the air.
All right, I'm going to get.
Well, wait a minute. If the sub doesn't get paid, he can go beyond his.
Wait a second.
Yes, absolutely. That's what we're saying.
I might not have explained it right, Tom. Go ahead, Mark.
The homeowner is, in essence, the same position as Apple. If the general gets paid and doesn't pay the sub can file a lien against the damn homeowner or the company or whoever, commissioned.
Well, maybe.
So I would
How far does that go, Mark? All the way down to a goddamn floor cleaner.
Dude, if they're looking for a lien waiver, they know that Apple can get liened on this.
Well, that's why
ultimately,
would they win it though?
Yes, it's Quantum Marriott. And they got,
in about 2 seconds.
am I saying that right, Quantum Marriott?
Yeah, but Apple paid whoever
So
for
Apple's
those
remedy is to
displays.
go after the general.
It doesn't matter.
Their job is going to
It doesn't matter if they paid in full. It doesn't matter. If that lien protection law only is for residential.
I'm not even talking about the lien protection law. I'm trying to think of it. Give me an example.
Okay. I own a store. Yep. I hire you to do home improvements. I pay for it in full, and you don't pay some of the subs. Or that sub doesn't pay one of their subs. Who doesn't pay one of their subs? I can lien the place. If you got value for my service, I can lien it.
Yep. You did.
Hi, Tom Martino here. Welcome. 303-713-TALK, 303-713-8255. All right, so we're going to do an inspection for the carpet and get to the bottom line on that. We'll move on to other calls. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. John Fuller with us from Fuller Law. Mark, what?
I want to talk about this.
Well, we can't. I want to wait till we get the caller on first.
Okay.
Okay, let's do that. As soon as you can, Suzanne, let's get that consumer on about that issue we were discussing off the air for our online audience.
Now, Tom.
Live on Facebook, live on YouTube, of course, live on iHeart Radio, which is the app across the country, and we can also be downloaded. We have hundreds of thousands of people listening on downloads. It's wonderful. Christina, what's happening?
Hi, yes, Mr. Martino. I would like to make a complaint or just bring awareness to the condition of Crown Hill Cemetery.
What's going on?
It's on the border between Wheat Ridge and Lakewood.
Yeah, what's going on?
I have 6 family members buried there, and I went there on the 11th and to clean off the headstones, and it's covered with thistles. The grass is completely dead, and the sprinklers are just going around in circles. They're not spraying anything, and it doesn't seem like anybody is attending to it. I called the office, and I was there for an hour and a half, and it's 97 degrees out. I don't know why they're watering in the middle of noon. You know, I grew up in a cemetery, and that's not the way you do it. I'm just really disappointed about the condition of the sunken headstones, and just, you know, we've made complaints with the office for years, my grandmother and I, and...
Listen, assuming you're not Morticia, I need to know what you mean by you grew up in a cemetery.
Well, my father was the shop manager.
Okay.
And we grew up on the property. So
okay.
I've also worked there twice, you know, so
what would you go after? What are the damages you would seek?
That's a good question.
Well, I don't
No, that's a
want
good
any
question.
damages.
Is it a breach of contract? No, I know I know you're not looking for anything, Christina, except to make
you want the maintenance.
She just wants to unload and say, look, these people are it's deplorable. But what is the contract? What is their responsibility? I don't even know. When you buy a cemetery plot, is there a contract that promises more? Do you know, John, if anything about?
I suspect it's more of a specific performance type deal where they've agreed to provide services and it'd be a breach of that contract.
Yeah, and
that's not it. I mean, we don't have a contract like that. It's just the moral fact that.
But you probably do have a contract. If you bought the plot, you have a contract, right?
Well, we have 6 family members and 1 adopted family member, all in the same area.
All right, so
and it's just
let's call them.
Horrendous.
Let's call them specifically. Let's get Crown Hill on the line. Somebody from Crown Hill to talk about it. Dan, welcome. What's going on? Dan. Dan.
Oh yes, I'm sorry.
What's happening? What is? We were discussing your email. What is going on?
Well, I own a machine shop here in Denver, and we did a job for a company out of Castle Rock called Avante Fabricators.
So you worked for Avante?
I did work for it.
Yeah, you contracted, right? And then what?
Right. Yeah. They got their parts, and then they went out of business and told us tough luck.
What did you do for them? What were the parts?
We made some parts for. They're kind of decorative parts that ended up in Apple stores.
Okay, so these parts are part of the tenant finish in Apple?
Like a display?
Right.
Okay, now, Avante was hired by Apple?
I believe so. I don't know.
I mean, were they hired by another sub or by Apple? Somebody hired Avante to work at the Apple store, and you know for sure that your work ended up in the Apple store, is that right?
I assume it did, yes.
What do you mean you assume it did?
Well, I haven't been to the stores to look at them, but...
Well, then you don't know. So that's really important. So what actually, how did you even know they were for the Apple Store?
Because it was on their purchase order.
Okay. So did it have an address for a store?
Yes.
Okay.
6 addresses.
Good.
5,
and you did 5 different things for 5 stores?
They were actually the same parts, just different stores.
Good. The reason I mention this is because you have to tie the value to a location and to an owner if you hope to lien it. Because if Avante did not pay you and you provided value to a property, you have the right to lien that property.
Okay.
You must know that, right? Didn't you ever have to lien before?
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, so, but it has to be done under very specific circumstances. Like, it has to be done within a certain amount of time after work was done, and it has to be done in a certain process. You have to give them notice, and then you have to wait, and then file.
What happens if it wasn't a direct sale between Avante and Apple? So, in other words, Dan does work for Avante.
Yes.
Avante is basically contracted by ABC Company. ABC Company then sells the final product or the display to Apple.
Okay.
Can he still go in that chain?
Let me give you a couple. That's called the chain of commerce. But let me just ask, and John Fuller's going to weigh in. But this is a very technical, minor detail. If this guy built, that's why I asked about addresses and parts, because if this guy built stuff and Avante stocked it, now listen carefully, and they stocked it in a warehouse, and he regularly made stuff for Avante, and Avante stocked inventory, and when Avante got a job, they went into the inventory and did the job, he would have no lien rights.
Okay? Understand.
Because, okay, however, if he built something on order for a specific location and it was delivered there, he has lien rights.
By looking at the addresses of these Apple stores, they're all over the country, everywhere. Pennsylvania.
Doesn't matter where they are.
No, but what I'm saying is, I wonder if he built like 100 of these for Avante, and then Avante sold them to numerous different people.
Well, I just told you that. I just told you
How does he find that out?
Well, he just said, well, first of all, I don't think Avante is stocking them. I think, did you ship them to Avante or did you ship them to an Apple store?
Avante.
Okay, and when they were shipped to Avante, did they have a name of a store on them? It was for a particular store.
They had it on their purchase order, yes. I don't know if we...
Go ahead, John Fuller. John Fuller.
Tom, I think it's important to talk about the rest of this story. So this caller, so the house that he did the work for is now threatening, to go under and threatening bankruptcy. And he's been made an offer, but he's been made an offer of like 40 cents on the dollar with the threat that you take that now and you have to be willing to waive any rights to go after Apple. And so that tells me a lot about this situation. They fully understand that he was a subcontractor and he certainly has those rights.
Now, we do have to take this break. We will discuss it right after the break. But the point is, the material must be tied to the person for them to have the quantum merit. Merit. And therefore, if they received value and you can prove it, then you can lien it. But hold on a second. We'll come to that. One Clear Choice Garage Doors for your garage door needs, 303-565-6409. OneClearChoiceDoors.com. Simply the best. If you need garage doors, starting at $299, Wi-Fi ready, battery backup, and it's fully installed. 303-565-6409.
So, hold on here. This is driving me nuts. So, if I'm a semiconductor guy, and I build semiconductors, and I sell them to Tom, who builds a computer, and then the computer is the point of sale.
You can't. I just said that. When you build inventory and it's stocked and then sold, you can't.
Well, this must be a form of inventory, even though it's a display.
No, it's not. If it's specifically for a customer, it would have to be something. Okay, if you built semiconductors and the only computers they went in were Dell, you could lien Dell. if they were owned. But if you sell them to a number and you can't trace it, you can't do a balloon lien.
I don't think the part that he makes, whatever it is only made for this Apple display, is what I'm saying.
Well, then if Avante works for a number of stores and Avante regularly keeps them stocked, you're right.
Okay.
You know,
But we don't know.
We have no idea.
Let's quiz this guy if that part's used for more.
How do you know they're in the store? I kept asking him, how do you know? You can't just build something and say, hey, that's mine, I'm going to lien you. You can't do it. In fact, with roofing materials, Mark, to get around it, do you know what some roofers do? They have the roofing delivered to their yard, and then they wait, and they don't let the supplier know which roof went where, and that supplier cannot lien them.
Oh, wow. Wow. But remember, there's addresses on the purchase order of Apple stores. So that tells me that that's a definite link to the stores.
Yeah, but they might still sell that to numerous other people.
But they may not. I mean, the proof's going to come out in this thing, okay? My analysis is pretty simple. If you're asking me to waive off my ability to lien Apple,
you're afraid of the lien.
You're afraid of the lien.
Absolutely.
So that's the accountant. He said that was accounting verbally.
We haven't even got, here's another problem. He got this letter May 25th. April, May, June, July.
Was it 90 days?
He's right there, man. He needs to get an intent to lien out quick.
Yep.
He needs to go through with this because he should get the 10 grand.
I agree. He's going to get the 10.
You got to wonder how many of these went out to how many people.
Right.
And I'm looking for
him. He wants to make sure he does this stuff right, though. I mean, unless he's really because if he's leaning different Apple stores in different states, I don't know how that really plays into it. Do you need to file one in every state? Do you need to file just with the Colorado Secretary of State?
You just went right to their office and stuff. Wouldn't Apple have?
No, but these are 6 different addresses. This is a whole different.
That would be my concern. That would maybe prompt me to call somebody and pay them a few bucks. But I guarantee you, if you get Apple on the line, you're going to get your 10 grand.
Plus, I don't think he's negotiated with them all because he's at 40%. Wanting to go, okay, 60%, I'll do it.
Then they're waiting for his lien rights to go away by time.
Exactly.
And then they're going to file their VK and they're going to zip him.
Screw you.
Know?
See, I have a feeling what these are. The more I find very little about this company. The one thing I know about Jeff Brynan, the first thing he tells you is, if you're shutting down, you get rid of everything you possibly can. But it looks like they fabricate certain parts that are sold everywhere. AVANTI fabricators.
But if they did that, Mark, why would they on the purchase order put addresses of Apple stores? Why didn't they say just do this?
The guy that he worked for did it. Avante did it.
Avante on the purchase order to Dan.
Yeah.
Put these addresses on.
If I order tires for your car, back when I had the store, I'd put Dan. I would put who the tires.
So you would order it from the manufacturer saying, I want 4 tires for Dan.
That would be the PO, yeah. If it wasn't something I had in stock, when I ordered them, I would have a PO under whoever's name.
But you had to prove that they were put on your car if they wanted to leave.
Used by businesses of all
I never got those tires either.
qualified job candidates with immediate results. And right now you can try ZipRecruiter.
God, I'd like to know.
Free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/ABC Radio. That's ZipRecruiter.
And then if it is a piece, let's say it is a display and it is for Apple. Let's go down the road a little bit. So Apple buys the display from Avante for a make-believe number of $1,000. This part that he did is $1. How do you determine the value that lien would be for in the end product?
It would be for what you build this big guy for. If you built it for $100,
okay,
it'd be that. You get paid. You show your invoice and you get paid that $100. That's why a lot of these companies put out bids proposals, and they will only take credit-worthy companies because they don't want.
Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter, 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. Lien rights are very, very, very difficult to understand, because, well, not to understand, but to get your head around, because it seems sometimes unfair. If you've paid your bills, how do you get popped with a bill? But they allow people to lien if your work added value to their property. You must prove it was your work on their property. If people just stock parts and it goes out, I mean, you just can't. Like if you built parts for Dell computers and Dell sells computers to a number of different people, you can't just go out and blanket lien 100 people and say, I know my part's in there, because it wasn't built for them. It was built for Dell. But this thing was built for this guy to deliver to Apple specifically for a display, if you can show it. You have to show the connection. Just like roofing suppliers have to show their materials were delivered to that house.
This is killing me. So if Avante, which is the company, let's say he built bookshelves or a part of a bookshelf that a home company like Lennar put in brand new houses, and then they went bankrupt, this guy could actually put a lien on that new house for Lennar.
No, not unless it was built for that house. If it was built for that house, yes. If it wasn't, if it was built as if Lennar stocked...
But it was betterment in the house if it's built into the wall or whatever.
But it's meant to be a job. It's a lien for a job. It's not a lien, a blanket lien, because you're owed money by Lennar Homes. If you're owed money by Lennar Homes and you stocked Lennar Homes with lumber, you can't say, I know my lumber are in all these homes. You can't do it. Yeah. Don't ask me why. They just don't let you. However, if you delivered a bundle of lumber to an address for a deck and that Lennar Homes did not pay, yes, they can lien that home. It has to be delivered and used at that address. The weakness Dan has is it was shipped back to Avante. So does Avante stock these for a number of different jobs, or are they exclusively Apple? I mean, that's something Dan has to worry about. But here's what you do. When you're a mechanic, I call mechanic, but a person who provide a vendor like Dan, you don't have to worry about that. Usually what you do is you file your lien and you let Apple use that as a defense. Apple would say, we don't have them. But then they would have to perjure themselves. So you know they're not going to perjure themselves, so they will say, okay, how much do we owe you? Or they're going to go back to Avante and say, Avante, we're withholding payment, because they probably don't pay in full right up front. So in some way, Apple's going to look to defend themselves or to get reimbursed. But Apple knows if they were used. If Apple, for example, has as a defense, wait, we know Avante builds these for a number of different stores. It could be in any number of 100 stores, not just Apple. That would be Apple's defense. Dan doesn't have to worry about that right now. He just goes and says, there's my display case. I never got paid for it. Here's the bill.
Well, Tom, I'll tell you this, he needs to get his 10 days out quick.
But they're asking him to sign a lien waiver for those specific locations.
Of course.
Tells me it was project specific, right?
It could, but that lien waiver can't be used as evidence because it's a settlement.
Is that same part used in other displays you build for other companies or that Avante did?
It was unique and specific to each retail outlet.
Mm-hmm. It tells me that Apple's not going to want you showing up at their door with a lien.
He's coming up on his 60 days here, too. He's got to get a
So what does he have?
An intent to lien?
Is it 60 days from the time what? The work was done?
Well, he's got to send out an intent to lien 10 days before the 60 days is up. I got to look it up. I always get confused on that one.
In other words, you have a certain amount of time. And then, of course, once you do the lien, if you don't do anything to perfect it, it's just going to sit there. But I suspect Apple will pay it. Now, is Apple the one that actually did the work for, or did Avante have another person? That's all for you to find out, Dan. But yes, Dan, you have a right to lien those stores if, you know, and let them throw the defenses up.
Call Ryan Wood.
He can do it for you. I'm Troubleshooter Tom Martino.
If he looked at it, he'd take that.
Listen, liens seem very, very unfair because people that pay their bills, they are unfair, right?
You know the Bacchus and Schenker call? Now that we have a response from them, since John's here, do you want me to have the caller on so you can explain to them this response?
Let me read it first. There's nothing
Come on.
It could be one of John's clients. You don't know.
Or should we drop it?
No, we shouldn't drop it, but I don't know if I want to address it with you.
We call them
I can tell you before we do it, just let me see what this is all about.
The way I feel, first of all, I feel that anybody that gives us that much detail in the case, they're proud of what they did, and this woman said they did nothing, and she never heard from them, that flies in the face of that. I think Bacchus and Schenker did a good job.
I do too,
And
after
it's kind of
reading.
awkward to say that with John Fuller.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
You know what? John brought something up that I'm just reading about here too. So let's say he hires
Well, I
Ryan.
should say on here, yes, we should do it later or tomorrow.
If this guy hires someone on the liens or does it himself, 6 different states,
Pretty much for saying
it's cost prohibitive at that point.
I don't know what it costs to file.
Well, I would assume you got to fly out there and file it.
Why couldn't you do Apple corporate?
You don't think so?
I think you can probably do it electronically, or an attorney can do it. I don't know. I don't think you have to actually serve them. You don't serve them, do you? I don't know, Mark.
Mark, I served that one downtown. You know, that was like
That wasn't a lien notice.
But if you're leaning Apple stores, how do you ever get paid on those? I mean, maybe he's
Well,
better off
you
taking
have to
4
sue
grand.
him within. You got to sue him
What is
within
this total
120
bill?
days.
10 grand, and they're offering a $4,000 settlement.
Or say, hey, you know, mess around a little, see what you can get.
Why is Avante even doing that? Why are they even offering anything if they're going bankrupt?
Because they must have it. I agree
There
with
must
that.
be a strategy they're doing for their bankruptcy.
I think they're probably hoping they can sell the assets if they go bankrupt.
No, because he might become a priority.
No.
Yeah, whoa. If he did work within 90 days of that bankruptcy, he sure as hell is. Because that's like...
It's not a bankruptcy, though. They're just saying, hey, we're going to close down operations. Do you want $4 grand or not?
Okay, I thought it was a bankruptcy.
I thought it was a potential bankruptcy considering who the letter's coming from, Cutner Bryant.
Yeah, this was my attorney. I dropped $100 grand with this guy.
Holy cow.
He saved me $2 million.
This morning's report from the Labor Department.
Basically, what Jeff's saying here is, hey, listen, if you want to push the issue, there's a hell of a chance we're just going to file and you're going to get nothing. And the reason you're going to get nothing is North Star Bank holds a blanket lien on everything Avante owns. So if we can't deal with them, it doesn't matter about you because they're getting everything first anyhow.
Well, that's not necessarily so either. This guy doesn't go to the bottom of the line as a mechanic.
Well, he does if they are, if they are actually.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, if they have a seniority. Yeah.
That's not even the word I'm looking for. They have, well, seniority, but they have, they probably bet they have personal guarantees. But on top of that, I bet they have,
a senior lien?
No, it's...
Subject to credit of
That,
U.S. only.
Denver's talk station.
It's backed by inventory. That's what I'm saying. It's backed by actual assets. A secured loan. Thank you. Where this guy's isn't secure. What comes first?
Talk to that girl. I think she called my office.
Well, I'm going to have her call you again today. I'm going to say, John wants to go over the whole thing with you.
You're going to buy lunch.
Free. He's going to buy you lunch. And by the way, he loves talking sports. Softball, women's softball.
No, if you were her 6 years ago, you're out of work, suffering from depression, he wants to talk to you.
Oh, boy, we got one.
Let's just refocus his ads.
Well, they're working so well now, so I mean...
Did someone tell you you had no chance? Every attorney in town turned it down. John
John's your guy.
No one else will take it? Not even those late night TV guys?
Right.
No one will talk to you?
Been turned down by everybody in town? Call John!
No insurance? Been told no case? Call John.
We should send her out with Freddie.
The person that hit you is unemployed, illegal immigrant?
Oh, God.
Think about going back to Mexico?
All forward first. He can beat them to the border.
He'll track him down in Tijuana.
Your face is my case.
It's been nice knowing you guys.
That's really something when people have a great case, but there's no...
Oh, we're seeing all
no
guys all the time.
Oh my God.
For 46 years, carries a
I'd be
lifetime warranty on
I'd
all
be
parts.
done,
Rich.
retired by now.
Big box or
If every case, if somebody didn't have enough insurance.
If everybody had to have $1 million in insurance. Government mandate. In fact, it's a birthright.
Or you have like liability or
Health insurance and auto insurance. Make America great again.
Obama car care.
Perfect. You got Obama phones, Obama health care, Obama car care. What are we going to do?
You get a free phone.
Are there still Obama phones out there now?
Hell yeah, you just turn left off of
now
Broadway, right on the Colpack.
Broadway,
right there.
What was the thing, though? What was
They got the T logo on them.
They got you've seen it, haven't you?
What was that he gave phones to people?
I don't think
So poor people could have a phone to get a, to get a job.
There's a unique swath of the society.
It's the first time in our history
John,
that gave everybody
was that a terrible idea?
What's that?
Obama phone.
Yes.
Why? Shouldn't people have phones?
Hell no. What is it, a birthright that you get a telephone? That's a goddamn attempt to manipulate votes. That's all the hell that was. Obama's got me. No.
So wait a minute, you didn't want Bernie giving away free movie passes and pizza?
Just right for your business at Vistaprint.
Jeez, John. What a hater, right? You insensitive asshole. You don't want people to eat pizza. You want babies to die because they don't get pizza, right?
Well, hell yeah.
No,
don't care for you.
And it better not just be cheese pizza. I want some meat on that.
That's what I know.
How dare you give me just cheese pizza? Pricks. Boy, can you imagine though if we gave free pizza to everybody on Fridays, and then 7 years later you tried to take away the free pizza on Fridays?
Have a revolt on you.
Oh my God.
Yep.
This is the Troubleshooter Show.
Help! I need somebody.
Now, Tom Martino, the Troubleshooter.
Help me if you can. I'm feeling.
Hi, Tom Martino, your Troubleshooter. Welcome to the show. 303-713-TALK. 303-713-8255. John Fuller in the house with us, attorney at law. Does personal injury. And we can answer personal injury questions if you have any. And I just want to tell you, though, if not, and a lot of people don't have personal injury questions at the tip of their tongue, if ever you get hurt and you say, what do I do, what do I do, you can call John, 303-597-4500. I wanted to ask John, you know, we talked about the biggest heartache, and I'll get to all of your calls right now. Just hang on. Eric, I see you there. You've been waiting a while. John, we talked about this. A person has a great case. There's a really bad guy. It's worth, the guy has $1 million in damages. Truly. And he's not exaggerating. It's a great case.
Yeah, wheelchair for life, the whole bit.
Or whatever. But you can't take it. Why? Or you could take it, but it's not in the client's best interest because the other person, let's say, is uninsured. The other person has no means, no assets. It's useless, right?
Yeah, I can't really tell you in my career of how many times I've seen people that were independently wealthy but that had very crappy insurance. Typically, the people that have nothing tend to have no insurance. And so, you get a case with great damages, but there's just no viable avenue.
There's no one to go after.
What are you going to do? All you're going to do is throw good money after bad.
You could have been robbed of a future. You could have been robbed of a future.
Absolutely.
And there's no one that's going to pay. That's terrible.
That's the reality. However, Tom, it's a completely avoidable circumstance, okay?
With uninsured motorists.
Go out and buy uninsured motorist coverage. It's 100% avoidable. And it's relatively cheap. Now, I know, not everybody can make that a bigger priority than eating or paying their rent, but all things else being equal, that's the most important coverage that you have on your auto policy, bar none.
Really?
Yep.
And is that the kind you have to opt out of or not?
You have to have been made a commercially viable offer for you, but they don't make you buy it. It's not something that you're compelled to have.
But
like
you don't have to. You don't have to opt out of it.
No. So
medical payments, you have to opt out.
That's exactly right. But they're both incredibly important.
I got a question.
And they're cheap.
Yep.
And we talked to Compass about this. I think we're talking for med coverage, med pay, you're talking less than $100 a year in some cases.
Absolutely. That would be on the high side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you got someone, John, and let's say they got $2 million in assets, and their kid's 18 years old and the kid lives with them. Kid owns the car outright in his name, titled to him, everything. Can that kid, can you take him off your insurance, have him get his own insurance? Let's say he works at, you know, whatever, the movie theater. He doesn't make crap. He out of school, but lives at home. So could you just get a $25,000 or the minimum policy for him? And of course you could, but if he got into an accident, let's say DUI, kill somebody, big claim, can they somehow attach that because that kid still lives with you, but he's over 18, or is this a real far stretch? Because we have insurance companies or people that represent them say you could easily go after the other person now, the parents.
Well, I don't know about that. Just because they live with you, Mark?
That's what I've heard.
So wait, so if you have a child, a son or a daughter,
yeah,
and they're 19 or 20,
sure,
and you can't get them on your insurance, they're way too expensive.
Yeah, or simply you want to save money. You don't want them on your insurance.
I just said way too expensive,
yeah.
Right? So they go out and buy their own car.
Yep.
They insure it.
For the lowest amount.
Yeah.
And then they
slaughter a family.
Yep.
And they have millions and millions of dollars in damages.
Yep. So
I can see no way on God's green earth that anyone can hold you responsible for that unless you fed your kid liquor, put him in the car, handed him
we're
keys.
not talking anything like that. No.
John, just because he lives with you? Come on.
Yep. Sometimes you can.
Why?
Well, he's a resident relative, number one, and so unless there's policy language that would exclude it, he's going to be covered under those parents' policies.
No, I'm not talking about that.
Secondly,
wait, no, I see. Because he lives there.
Yeah, exactly. He's a member of the household. It could be a family car doctrine.
So you would go after the parents?
Could be negligent.
Would you go after the parents?
If I could, absolutely.
Well, when if you could?
Tom,
what example, you're saying he should be covered.
I'll give you a real-life example.
Go ahead.
Okay?
Yeah.
A 20-year-old kid was up in the mountains smoking and drinking on the ski lifts, came down, got in his car, drove 1 mile away, and hit and killed a pedestrian.
Okay.
Okay? He lives in the mountains in Colorado. He goes to school in the mountains of Colorado. He's employed in the mountains of Colorado.
How old is he?
21 years old.
Okay.
His parents live in Tennessee or somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay? You like it?
You're not going to go after his parents.
Absolutely.
Why?
But where's the connection?
Because he wasn't brought up properly?
Was it their policy? Was it their policy?
Family car doctrine, okay? The dad just happened to be also listed on the registration of the vehicle because he helped his kid buy the car, and therefore it fell under dad's umbrella policy, and absolutely we went after it.
But if he he bought his own car,
you collected that much money from them.
But if it was if that part didn't happen, if the kid bought the car here cash, it was his car, dad not on it, would that still have been opened?
That would have been a lot tougher.
Okay, but still maybe...
It would have been impossible.
No.
The kid doesn't even live with you, and he bought his own car.
Okay.
But, John, listen. Really, let's use common sense. The kid moves away. He's 21 years old, living in Colorado. He buys his own car with his own money.
Dad's still paying the way?
In what way?
Tuition, rent?
Yeah. Helping out with the rent?
Let's say, so he gives his friend...
It's not entirely settled at all. When your kid goes away to college, he still kind of lives with you.
So you're telling me, so how, though, would you sue if a kid is living alone? Okay, so when can you not go after parents? Why not when the kid's 30? No, I'm serious.
Well, yeah,
why not?
There's 38-year-olds living in the basement.
No,
we hear from them all the time.
I'm not talking about living with parents. John gave a scenario where a kid is living in the mountains of Colorado and kills somebody, and they go after his parents in Tennessee. Now, that's because the dad signed on the car and helped him buy it. But what if it's just a kid, for God's sakes, and your son, listen, everyone, you have a son or a daughter living in another state? Okay, you're going to get sued because of what your son and daughter does? How could that happen?
Okay, John's saying if you're still providing for them.
So I get confronted all the time, Tom, by parents, peers of mine that have younger children that say exactly what Mark said. Should we buy a separate policy and freeze them out of our policy? And I always tell them, no. Why would you want to do that? Why? I mean, what possible benefit do you have in doing that? Because if you somehow get accused of negligently entrusting that kid with a car, maybe you bought him a car that had too big of a motor, so they drive like Mark and a maniac.
Yeah, but you just... Wait.
So, I mean, there's a myriad of possibilities.
But we're changing topic now, because we just struck panic in people who have adult children living out of state, and they're suddenly thinking, let's see, my son's married, he has a couple kids, they could be possibly coming after me for something he does.
They're living in your basement?
No, I'm talking about living in another state. So this kid, so now you got a 25-year-old son, he's married, he has 2 kids. He goes out and kills somebody, and they're going to sue me.
Probably not. But Tom, what's my job? My job is to maximize every recovery that I can.
I'm not faulting you, I'm asking you.
And I'm trying to answer you. I'm going to apply the law to the facts that we have. If I've got 10 different policies that we could potentially bring into play, I'm going to figure out some possible way that we can go after each of those.
So is there a connection? You mentioned, is the dad paying the way? Let's say I am paying, helping pay with rent. I'm helping rent. I'm helping to pay their expenses because I'm a good parent. Not a good parent, a bad parent, let's say. I'm helping to pay for my kid. And would that make a connection?
In that particular case, it was because the kid was in school. It's not just merely helping to subsidize their deal, but being in school, actively enrolled in school.
Then you made a family doctrine.
Yes, exactly.
I am shocked. But, you know, you ought to be happy if you're looking for money because this guy's sniffing out like a gopher.
You need to listen to this show more.
You know, we talked about pocket gophers the other day. This guy's the, my goodness, talking about a giant pocket gopher. You want to talk about, and weasels looking for money. God, he looks for money everywhere. I'm afraid.
You know he represents Suzanne and I.
Well, I'm afraid.
He tracked down where the guy worked, how much the guy makes, where the guy lives, and other stuff. He's probably looking at me like, shut up right now. But I got to tell you, John digs in like I haven't seen.
No, people, if you have any questions about this, seriously, if you have purchased a car for your son or daughter and you think you're off the hook because they have insurance, you know, this is a whole new aspect to liability. Now, we got to take this break, but Eric, I want to ask you, you've been waiting, what is this about vets losing benefits? What's going on?
Hey, Tom. So, my dad calls me this morning. He receives benefits through the VA. He gets a monthly stipend, and then VA also pays for a nurse, a CNA, and a home helper.
Yeah.
And he received a letter that because he can still drive, even though he has to have a helper to get around and do everything, that he is losing all of those extra benefits.
Why? But why? Is this a whole sweep of the whole, or just his audit?
Nope, this is across the board.
This is happening to veterans. What are they, reanalyzing their situations?
Apparently so.
Hold on a second. We have a guy who knows about veterans benefits, I think, or some veteran organizations, don't we, Suzanne? I thought we did.
I have to ask Daff, Tom.
I thought we had an angel for VA stuff. Or just, how about veterans in general?
Yeah.
I don't know if this is new or if it just happened to his dad. By the way, we have a lot of hail damage still out there. Don't panic. You can get right into Flexident. They have multiple convenient locations. You don't have to wait a long time. And the downtime on your car is minimized because they don't disturb the paint. Remember, it's paintless dent repair, Flexident. You just really save time, you save money, you save hassle, you preserve the value of your car, you never touch the paint, you won't even know it's there. 303-619-6273. You can get appointments right now for next week. 303-619-6273. Flexident, Colorado.com.
This report is brought to you by Lifeline.
I-25 northbound, the drive to the tech center is in really good shape, but it does bog down a little bit near the Downing Street Bridge up to about Alameda. All of this because of an earlier crash up near 6th Avenue, which is gone. I-70 westbound, you'll find stop-and-go traffic from Chambers out to Peoria. Not sure the exact culprit there. It might be construction, might be a crash. We're going to keep a close eye on it for you. 270 looking really smooth across Commerce City, and the drive across Aurora is in pretty good shape as well. The weather forecast. Sunny, then a chance of thunderstorms this afternoon, a 20% chance. We'll see a daytime high of 84 degrees before dipping down to 59 overnight. Right now it's 73 degrees in Denver. With your traffic and weather, I'm Hank Carey, 630 KHOW.
With identity theft, what you can't see can hurt you. But LifeLock can actually see threats to your identity, stuff you can miss by just monitoring your credit. If something happens, U.S.-based specialists can work to fix it. Go to LifeLock.com. Use promo code RISK, save 10%.
Today, the average retirement can last 20, 30, or more years. Yes, 30 or more years. No wonder the #1 retirement fear for people today is running out of money. So, how do you feel? Are you confident your retirement savings will last throughout your retirement years? Linda Gardner and the retirement planning specialist at Blue Heron Capital can help you create a retirement income strategy that you won't outlive. A strategy to show you what you can spend with confidence while you maintain your lifestyle and follow your retirement dreams. You've worked hard and saved for retirement. Now it's time to make sure you have income to last your life.
Does it say why?
So health insurance, I got health insurance for work, right?
Yeah.
He's on my health insurance. Am I responsible till he's 25, even though because I got health insurance? He's on health insurance through my work. So in case he, like you said, something bad happens, or going to come after me.
The report cards
See, this is
and the
a
results
good.
are devastating. Under the Senate health care bill, tens of millions of Americans will lose their health coverage, including 15 million next year alone. That's according to the nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office. Our most vulnerable citizens could get hit the hardest. Children, the elderly, the disabled, people with chronic conditions, and millions of veterans. And the thousands of Coloradans struggling with
Anything like that,
addiction
you know?
and
The duty to defend on an insurance contract is worth a lot of money.
Hey, babe, can you get on, call the Samsonite store at the outlet malls, ask for the prick that,
Nothing. He's not talking about anything.
Urge your senators to protect
Poor
health coverage for as many Americans as possible.
You know, it's live on Facebook, right? Great.
Yeah, we are.
Coalition to protect American health care.
How many people?
There's no info there, though.
How do you make sure you get the loan
You would have a coordinator,
or a
though,
refinancial purchase?
Yeah.
Getting the right loan for you and not the one they want to sell you. Take AIM, affordable interest loan.
Have you ever had a client that, like, showed up at the other person's house, like, ready to kick their ass or some shit?
I haven't had that, but I've had them show up for an intake at my office and have, like, pictures of the guy's home and stuff, and you're like say, this has to stop, okay?
Take AIM. 720.
And here she is in the shower.
No.
Can I put that on the internet?
No.
Here they are coming out of work.
I don't want you posting anything on Facebook. Just saying about the redneck, you know.
You know who always told me that about the insurance I brought up was Compass, Brian. He said, you can try it. He goes, it doesn't mean they're not going to sue and not win.
Right. Yeah, that's the whole thing. It's like, these things are so fact-specific that it can be just one thing, like that kid was in college. Well, that makes him still a resident of the familial house 10 states away, you know?
Unless, of course, if he had his own money and
maybe he's been emancipated or something, or...
How do you emancipate?
You can in Colorado. Not before 18.
I mean, I'm just saying, there's so many different circumstances where
he's emancipated.
He's an adult.
But he's in my share, and I'm getting paying his tuition.
Well, then that's what we just thought. I would still argue that he's still a member of the familial household. And
are you paying for school?
Family card out.
Well, that's why. Okay. He's still your kid. That's
How about if I put
basically
it all in 501 or whatever that thing is for?
529?
Yeah, if I could put it in.
Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter, 303-713-TALK, 303-713-8255. Welcome to the show. We are here to help you solve problems, answer questions, and take complaints. John Fuller's with us, really opening our eyes when it comes to personal injury. Wow, did we have a lot of interesting discussions there. We'll talk about anything you want, by the way. And right now, Eric said VA benefits are going away in certain areas. What are the specific benefits he lost? Not his regular disability, right?
Right.
What did he lose?
So he has a home helper that comes in a couple times a week.
What is that under? Under what program is that?
I'm not sure what the programs are under.
It's a home helper. What else did he lose?
He has a CNA that comes in and helps him bathe and helps him do other stuff around.
And this is due to a service-related disability or to injury?
Well, it's all of it. I mean, he's 70-some years old. So
okay.
He's claiming he's all, he's basically all the VA benefits and whatnot. But
I understand. So he gets a home helper, a CNA, what else?
And then he has a nurse that comes in. I'm not exactly sure what.
Does he get a stipend as well?
Yes.
How much?
I'm not sure. I think it's enough that it covers his rent.
Wow. So, and that's not a disability payment?
Well, that's, Tom, I don't understand 100% how all of this stuff works.
Okay, I mean, but all you know is that he said it's all going away.
He'll continue to get his stipend. He gets his Social Security every month, but all of these others, this other benefit stuff he's getting, he is losing.
The home help specifically he's losing. The physical people there.
Right.
And it's because he can get. They reevaluated him probably. I don't think this is system-wide.
No, it is. The lady that he talks to, the lady that's like the nurse, it's like the representative that he works with, and she said this is happening all over the country.
Meaning what is happening? What is happening?
Where they are reevaluating and readjusting what they determine.
That's what I just said.
And Tom, did he tell you that the reason they chose this for his dad because he can drive okay? He can drive, but he can't bathe himself. So they're saying you can drive, so your mobility's fine. So we're cutting back your benefits.
What do you guys think of that? I think there has to be some kind of criteria. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, but here's the thing on this, Tom. So when I say he can, here's his range of mobility. He cannot reach or do anything above his shoulders. So he cannot bathe. He can drive because he doesn't have to reach above his shoulder. He cannot get around without his scooter or his walker. So, like if he goes to the store, the helper has to load and unload the scooter, and then he gets out of the car, gets on it, and goes, and whatnot. But he can't get his own groceries and whatnot. They have to help him get all of that stuff.
Well, we can contact VA. We do have someone that we talk to. What are you shaking your head, Suzanne?
I just go back and forth on it.
Like why? In other words, you're saying if this
no
is the system.
No offense to Eric, and I'm not saying this about his dad, but there's a lot of fraud out there and faking stuff. And
no,
and
I
so
know.
I just have mixed feelings.
They have to have criteria.
And here's the other part of this.
I don't think we're going to get him benefits. So now, Eric, I didn't say that we're going to fight for benefits. What we're going to do is fight for clarification. I mean, if truly they have certain criteria, what I'd like to know is why didn't they check on this before? How long has this been going on? How long has he been getting these services?
Probably not quite a year.
Okay, so therefore, it's brand new. So I think what's happening is they got him the services, and they just got around to evaluating him. I don't think there's a mass reevaluation going on all over the.
This is what the lady is telling him is that.
Well, give me the name of the lady then. Give me the specific number. Get it from him.
I would have to have Suzanne put Suzanne in contact with him to get her information.
Okay, that's what I need to do. Eric, I really do. I need specifics. Because I have heard of no blanket taking away of home health care from veterans at all. I understand it touches you, and I understand your dad's being evaluated, and I understand some person said, oh yeah, this is happening all over the country. You know what? I had not heard of it. What we have to do is source it, really source it, because I don't think there have been any major changes in veterans' benefits. Major changes. I think, yeah, they may be evaluating people across the country, but that's not a change. They've been evaluating people ever since they've had these programs, because as Suzanne said, there was a lot of cheating. I'm not suggesting your dad's cheating, but there are people who just get hurt by this because he happens to be able to drive. So who knows? Maybe he has to give up driving, and but I don't know personally. How can he need all that help if he drives? I don't know. How does he get in and out of his car?
Apparently, it's his range of motion reaching above his head. Right. I don't know.
Again, we need specifics. We need someone to talk to specifically. The person who said this is happening all over the country. Or if anyone listening has heard about veterans in-home health care or help, the CNAs and the helpers being cut all over the country, let me know. I'm sure we should be able to come up with one other person that this has happened to. Okay? Call me, 303-713-TALK, or email us live at troubleshooter.com, and we'll look into it. Stephen, what's going on?
Hello. I'm having trouble just making contact with HomeSafe, which is a home appliance insurance for your various, like
garbage, in my opinion.
Yeah, HomeSafe is a joke, okay? We don't recommend it. It's with Excel, and it's a total joke.
Yes.
Supposedly you pay a monthly fee and they cover your major appliances and you get priority appointments and you get all kinds of service, and I think it's a joke. We have found it to be a joke. We have proven it to be a joke where they have told people, no, your furnace is just fine, and we have torn the furnace apart and literally found 18 cracks in the heat exchanger. It could have killed the homeowner, and these people didn't want to replace it. So what about get right to the problem you have with HomeSafe?
The problem is...
I thought it was called... Wait. Are you sure it's HomeSafe or is it HomeSmart?
No, he's talking an aftermarket like appliance warranty on his house.
Oh, you're not talking about public service. I mean, Excel Energy then.
No.
Yes, I am.
Oh, he is?
Is it called HomeSafe?
HomeSmart.
HomeSmart. That's what it's called. HomeSmart.
Right.
I don't know why HomeSafe was said. Okay, so
I just choked. I was on hold a while.
Oh, that's okay. Okay. So let's talk about HomeSmart, which I call HomeStupid. What is the problem with them right now? Let's get right to your problem.
12 days ago, we called and wanted to get our dryer repaired. And we called 6 or 7 days in a row. I would stay on hold.
Same old story. They don't. You pay, but when it comes to getting service, you can't get service.
Isn't it just odd our electric company, or one of the largest in the state, actually sells this bizarre warranty? I mean, is this normal anywhere else?
A lot of utility...
Black Hills does? I mean, I don't know.
No, but a lot of utility companies do this. They as extra revenue. They offer these maintenance programs. The phone company used to do it, Mark. They used to offer the wiring stuff.
Oh, yeah, they used to lease phones, too.
So, Stephen...
We did get some good service with them several years ago, and we haven't needed anything until just recently.
Here's what we're going to do. Listen, we have a good contact at Excel Energy. We have a good contact. I hear you, okay? I really do. They're not calling you back. You're frustrated. You try to communicate with them. You can't get a call back. So here's what we're going to do. We have a contact, a really good one, at Excel Energy. For all of their faults with HomeSmart, they do excellent work when it comes to providing electricity. Okay, I have no qualms with our energy company. I don't. And providing gas and providing everything. I don't have a problem with them. So, let's see if he can help us to get you some service. Okay, let's just do that and cut right through it. 303-713-TALK. Dale, what's happening? Dale?
Hi, Tom. I just had a question here about attic fans.
Yeah?
I'm thinking of getting an attic fan installed by a place called atticfan.com. I wondered if you had any word on them and if the things actually work.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about it. You hold on, because it's really important, and I don't want to rush it, because attic fans can be the best or the worst investment you make depending on what you do around it. All right? 303-713-8255. Listen. I tell you this time and time again, if you have pain, if you have problems, stem cell therapy is something to explore, okay? It's successful about, 90% of the time. I will tell you this, people get some kind of relief. Some get major relief, like I did with my low back, or you get minor relief. Some people get increased joint space. Stem cells are packed with human growth factors. And that's what they do. They go to the area of trouble and make new tendons and new tissue, and they mimic where they are. Stem Cell Institute of America is the only place I know that does free informational seminars that can change your entire thought process when it comes to pain. It'll help you find solutions for your pain along with cutting-edge information. They want you to be informed. They're not asking you to call for an appointment. Just call, go to one of these seminars, free, no obligation, and find out everything you need to know. Okay? Now, no matter where you are, they have them in the Tech Center, in Denver, in Littleton, in Fort Collins, many other areas. Call this number. You will never be sorry. There's nothing to lose, everything to gain. Learn all about stem cell therapy. 855-262-4040. I had my lower back done. It's extraordinary, the relief I'm getting. Extraordinary. 855-262-4040.
If you're doing any home improvements, Buy and Build is the place. place to go. The cabinets, countertops, sinks,
The thing on HomeSmart, Tom, I should have jumped in there. He can't even cancel it. Cancel the HomeSmart.
Yes, he can.
Excel said he couldn't cancel it. Only HomeSmart can cancel.
They took that phone call?
Because he's paying not direct pay. What do you call automatic payment?
Wait a minute, are you telling me it's non-cancelable or they can't cancel it?
Excel can't, HomeSmart has to cancel
All right,
it.
fine.
The actual payment, veteran. American Financing wants to see a huge
The actual payment.
Yeah, because they're drawing it on his account.
Your VA benefit.
They're creating the ACA.
To call American Financing so they can customize your VA loan program for your new home purchase or refinance. Hi, I'm Ross Kaminsky, and did you know that you can refinance any existing mortgage into a VA loan? You may even be able to take out cash to pay off some of your existing debt, so you can
Yeah,
save
John, you got me
$1,000
scared on
monthly.
the emancipation.
Plus, your mortgage interest is also tax deductible.
So basically, everybody should have at least a $2 million umbrella policy. Is what I say.
I don't know that you need $2 million,
VA loans have
but, I
no
mean,
down payment, no mortgage
Well,
insurance,
what
and relaxed
con
payment
and
requirements. American
something
Financing
to go
has
after, I
salary-based
guess.
mortgage
Not con.
consultants,
It's not
no
nothing's
upfront
con.
fees,
I'm going to go
and
after as much as I can.
process only takes 10 minutes.
It's me, you're gonna give me a little heads up here.
Here's a couple of factors, okay? We have caps on damages in Colorado. I mean, there's different things where we're capped out, like on wrongful death. I mean, you're capped for non-economic damages at 468, whatever the current limit is, okay? But how did I get $2.1 million out of it? Well, I did it because the kid was involved in what we alleged was a felonious killing. And that's because he was drunk and stoned at the time of the accident. He killed somebody with his vehicular homicide, right? So if you are able to allege a felonious killing, then the caps are out the window, and there are no caps.
What was felonious mean? Because it's almost like you
felony.
Oh.
Okay. So in that case, we allege that he satisfied every element of a vehicular homicide, which he did. Operated a vehicle, killed somebody under these circumstances. Drunk, stoned, check, you know. That kind of eliminates the caps. And so it became a policy limit. Okay. Should it have been worth more? Yes. If we had more coverage, it would have been.
You took the whole.
I took every penny they had. Right.
Through the insurance code.
Right. But if they only had $1 million, that would have been $1 million case. Okay. Or if they only had 500,000, that would have been a 500,000.
How about if he was worth another $1 million himself?
It would have been worth another $1 million.
Oh,
You know?
because they had a $2 million liability,
Umbrella.
and he had more. He must have had more
There's
assets.
another 100 of liability coverage on there.
But he must have had more assets if he had.
I know, but the reality is, I don't really ever go after assets. Because there's a condition that every insurance company will impose on you, and that's a full and final settlement in exchange for their limits, right?
And that kept you from going to court.
Right. Now, if I had gone to court and got a $5 million judgment, okay, and they could legitimately, if they had offered up those limits before, then they could say, well, here's our two, you know, good luck on the rest, and their insured would be on the hook for the rest of it. So practically speaking, that's when you have to get into looking at circumstances like, what's the home worth? How much is owed on it? You know, how much have you mortgaged your dog and your cat and your daughter and all that stuff for? Because the reality is, for most people, I mean, how much, there's not that many people that own their own free and clear. There's not that many people that have large assets that they own without any protection at all that would be available to satisfy judgment.
You go after 401s and stuff.
Those are pretty protected, but, you know, you also have a lot of power in that you can go bankrupt too, you know, and certain of the type of damages that I go after are dischargeable in bankruptcy. And so you could run right down to bankruptcy court and file one, and that shuts me off almost instantly, okay? There's some that aren't dischargeable, like criminal restitution and stuff like that, but, so I mean, there's not just one rule or one, don't get nervous and stay up at night over this, but I think that the smart thing to do is have a candid conversation where you say, look, what if my son does something really stupid and these people decide to turn after me? Will there be additional coverage for me? Or how can I make sure that the insurance company would have the obligation to defend me and indemnify me if somebody was successful in making an argument that the liability extended up the ladder from my kids living in the basement? And that's the conversation you need to have.
I just look at this, John, is the way, and I know every case is the same. Kids are a huge liability.
Absolutely.
Even after they hit 21.
They are. Absolutely they are. The moral of the story is just don't have them. Get rid of them. They're way overrated.
Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter, 303-713-TALK, 303-713-8255. Welcome to the show. We're here to help you solve problems, answer questions, and take complaints. All you have to do is call. We love doing what we do, and I want to talk about how we want to do it further and better. I alluded to it a little in the beginning of the show. I don't know if we should do a GoFundMe site or how we should do it, but I want to start taking this to another level where we literally have to go after some of these bad guys in court. We have been doing smaller cases on our own, but some of these I think are bigger and need more attention. And we really have to take it to another level. We talk about getting directly involved in people's lives, and we want to do it. So if you guys have any suggestions, let me know. Do you think we should do it on a case-by-case? Do you think we should have an overall fund? Do you think we should do a GoFundMe? Whatever. What do you think? Because I want you part of it. I even want you helping us decide what we should go after and how we should sue, or if we should sue. Seriously. By the way, John Fuller's with us from Fuller Law. Let me get to the phones here. Rob, what's going on with you? Hello, Rob.
Tom, how are you?
And I did not forget about the Attic fan, but Suzanne says, please take Rob because of the dealership.
He ends lunch at noon, Tom. He's on his lunch hour here. Sorry, Dale.
And it's a dealership. So, Dale, I'm going to get right back to you. It's very important on Attic fans. I did not forget. Okay, Rob, quickly, what's going on?
Yeah, so essentially we bought our car a few years ago, and essentially they put the wrong mileage on the bill of sale. And so we've tried to sell it back to them a couple times.
Now, what do you mean they put the wrong mileage?
So it had 66,000 miles when we bought it, and they wrote down 96,000 miles.
Oh, they put that there was more mileage on it.
Yeah.
So you were actually better off than they said.
Yeah.
Well,
so
did they correct it?
So they haven't yet, but essentially we've kind of been getting the runaround on it a little bit.
What do you want to happen right now? What do you want to happen?
So at this point, so last night my wife got a call back from the State Department or someone like that.
The Revenue Department. What did they say?
And they said that they're going to try and send us some paperwork to take down to the dealership to get it fixed.
Right. That's all you need to do is get it fixed.
Okay. And do we have any recourse? So essentially we ended up selling it at a discount because of it on the Carfax.
But Rob, did the Carfax have the wrong mileage on it?
It did.
Well, then the dealer's not responsible for that.
Okay.
If the car, somebody, how do you then know you only had 66 and not 96? How do you know that? How do you know it's a mistake?
So on the Carfax, when they bought it from the auction, it had 65,000. Then on the bill of sale, it said 96,000.
Okay, and then the Carfax said 96 again.
Yep, and then it went back to 67 for the oil changes.
All right, here's the bottom line. If the dealer made that mistake, yes, they have to correct it. See, I thought you said Carfax made the mistake, but let me get this straight. They copied the mileage down wrong and reported it wrong when you bought it, right?
Right.
Okay, here's the problem. You had an obligation to mitigate your losses, not to sell it at a discount. What you should have done is got it fixed from the dealer. The fact that you sold it before they fixed it is not their fault. You should have had it fixed by the dealer so they don't owe you any money or any loss. You can sue them for it, but I think you'll lose.
Does it make a difference that we brought it back to them a couple times and they tried to give us less money because of it and never told us that they were the ones that did it?
Not unless you can prove it. Rob, here's what I'm saying, okay? You had a car with less miles on it than you thought, okay? That did not harm you. The only way it would harm you is if you sold it or traded it in. But you never got the dealer to correct it. The fact that it wasn't corrected is the thing that cost you the loss. You should have gotten it corrected. corrected. I could have made them correct it. The dealer licensing board would have made them correct it. I can't help that you sold it before they had a chance to correct it, or that they were slow in correcting it. I'm sorry, Rob, but I don't think there's much you can do. How much less did you sell it for?
About $2,500 less.
Okay, that's really too bad. Now, you could say this. You could sue the dealership in small claims court for $2,500 and claim that you had to take less because they screwed up the mileage. You could do that. But I think the dealership will say in their defense, they were willing to fix it, and you never let them. So, John Fuller, what do you think would happen if he tried to sue for that loss, for that $2,500, and saying, look, they put the wrong mileage on this car?
I think ultimately he would lose because he had the ability to go and get it fixed.
Here's another thing.
And he didn't do it. So he had a failure to mitigate, basically.
Yes, and here's another thing, Rob. When you bought it, you thought there was 90-something thousand miles on it, right?
No, we thought there was 66, and so...
Oh, but you didn't know they wrote it down wrong.
Right.
Right, and then on the Carfax, we weren't told about it until...
I understand.
We were going back to
the long story is you did not know until you were ready to get rid of it that they had written it down wrong.
Rob, why'd you sell it when you knew that it would be worth a lot more if you just waited till you got this error fixed?
Well, so we contacted Carfax.
No, I'm not asking that, Rob. Why didn't you wait, or why didn't you get the dealer to fix it before selling it?
We had tried. We had gotten the runaround. We've been trying to sell it for a year, and so finally we got someone to buy it. So
yeah, but Rob, you could have gotten the dealer to fix it. Why didn't you get the dealer to fix it?
So we didn't know it was the dealer, so it comes up as the DMV. So we called the DMV.
You didn't know where to go to get it fixed.
Yeah, so it's
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Rob. You're right. You didn't know how to get it fixed. I can see that. It's too bad. I wish you would have called me earlier. We could have saved you a bunch of time and money. Sorry about that. I really am. Now, as far as ceiling fans, okay? Ceiling fans do work. Yes, they pull cooler air from the lower levels of your home through the home into the attic and out. Now, here's the problem. I'm not talking about ceiling. I meant attic fans. Attic fans, if what you're talking about is a fan, a whole house fan in the roof, in the ceiling upstairs, that pulls the cooler air from the lower parts of the house up to the higher parts of the house, and then it pulls hot air that rises out. So it's getting rid of hot air and bringing up cool air. You see? It's causing convection. It's pulling up air. The hot air goes out first, the cool air gets pulled down from the lower levels. But here's the problem. A ceiling fan, an attic fan will not work if you don't have proper attic ventilation. You have to have proper attic ventilation. And so having an attic fan without attic ventilation, you're screwed. So you need two things. You need great attic ventilation first. That means you need either a fan on the roof, a solar-powered fan you never have to worry about, that can be thermostatically set, that will automatically keep the air moving. Or you need a lot of ridge vents or vents and proper soffit venting. That means air comes in from the bottom of the roof and out the top. Once that attic has proper ventilation, then an attic fan will work better. An attic fan without attic ventilation is useless. Okay? So that's really the story on attic fans. Now, if you have a specific question, Dale, I'll come right back to you after we talk about our valuable sponsors, including Colorado Tinnitus and Hearing Center. You know they have tinnitus treatment that has been hailed as a permanent solution. The first time ever, Desyncra. But your tinnitus has to be in a certain frequency range for this permanent treatment to work. And if not, they have other treatments, okay? The point is, they're the only ones that do these truly advanced treatments and let you try them out before you buy them. That's what's wonderful about them. They also let you try out hearing devices. So whether you have a hearing loss or tinnitus or both, Colorado Tinnitus and Hearing Center, 303-534-0163, 303-534-0163.
This report is brought to you by Lifeline.
Starting in northern Boulder County, US 36 is shut down 5 miles west of Lyons. This is due to a pretty serious crash there. Here in town,
California bought the property. When he inspected the repair and didn't have gophers, a bunch of gophers come out. Guess how much they wanted to get rid of the gophers?
40 grand.
12.
But here's in his
Get a fucking dog.
no, but listen, he just bought the house, and in the disclosure, one of the questions actually says, "Is there any rodent problems?" No.
Have you
They
ever had
completely lied on the disclosure.
It looks like it.
Yeah.
And he said he had.
Why is the bald eagle just
Is pocket gopher like pocket pool?
Kind of.
Really close.
No, dogs, and they come out at night, if they come out.
Women do pocket
Are they like little
gopher.
moles or
They're like big bowls.
big moles?
They have moles.
And they
or
got
they have big
moles. They got moles.
Shit, those fuckers couldn't do anything at our house. Damn grounds get fucking
Absolutely, you're right. They got it.
They're in our pasture.
Yeah, that's all.
But the dogs bugged the shit out of them. They might have moved.
Like, we had prairie dogs when I first moved into my property, and that shit lasted for about 2 weeks, and the fucking dogs had them.
Oh, did they?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right, because they're out during the day.
Yeah. Plus
They're not nocturnal.
But usually they're like spies around.
Yeah, we have too many homes out there to be just laying.
If you flop them right in the head, they jump up about a foot and come down.
Like whack.
I have videos of. You should look at some of my videos of prairie dogs eradication.
Okay.
Put down.
Yeah.
Start living once again. 888-628-1899. Ideal Home Loans has a program to fit you. They can help you with debt consolidation.
We worked with a customer recently who called. They wanted to consolidate their bills. We were able to do that. They were saving a grand total of $1,100 a month. We showed them how to take $600 of that, apply it back towards their new mortgage. They are going to be completely debt-free, mortgage and all, in just over 12 years.
303-867-7000, 867-7000, idealhomeloans.com. Equal opportunity lender regulated by DORA, NMLS 136756. For terms and conditions, call 844-45-IDEAL.
Do you think you pay too much to sell a house? Hi, this is John Vizzi with Colorado Flat Fee Realty. If you sell a $400,000 house and the agent charges you 6%, that'll cost you $24,000 for just a few days' work. Colorado Flat Fee Realty has a much better way. On a $400,000 sale, you would save $10,300 with Colorado Flat Fee Realty. Why would you list with anyone else? Call 303-300-9660 or visit coloradoflatfeerealty.com.
Pay less, keep more, save thousands.
2.8% co-op applies.
Find out the true condition of your car with a free computer printout of all your major systems, the engine, tranny, electrical, brakes, and emissions. Then 15% off any repairs you want to do. Budget A1 transmission and auto repair. 303-781-9858.
Why are so many people raving about Champion windows and home exteriors? Find out. Improve your home with new windows during Champion's Summer of Savings sale. Get $250 off new windows and pay no interest or payments until 2019. Schedule today. It's getchampion.com.
Guys don't really talk about antiperspirant. Despite that, 91% of Dove Men Plus Care users recommend it. Here's what they said.
It blocks the, perspiration, I think is the fancy word. It's comfortable. It smells nice. My girl likes the smell. Well, it's hard. I think it's quite masculine. My underarms aren't the worst thing at the gym. It's kind of like the Hoover Dam from my armpits, I guess.
Dove Men Plus Care Antiperspirant. Tough on sweat, not on skin.
Does getting something flavorful and balanced on the table feel like a chore? Let HelloFresh take care of meal planning so you can save time and have fun cooking and eating. Visit HelloFresh.com and choose what meals you want from an ever-changing and delicious menu. Then let HelloFresh shop and deliver pre-measured ingredients with simple 30-minute recipes that require minimal cleanup and cost less than $10 a meal. Go to HelloFresh.com/emerald to get $20 off your first box. That's HelloFresh.com/emerald.
Michael Brown, afternoons 4 to 7.
An MSNBC commentator says Ivanka Trump can't be a feminist because her clothes are too, classy. So should she dress like an angry lesbian? Join me at 4 o'clock for more Irreverent Talk Radio.
Hi, Tom Martino here. Welcome. What's happening? Rockies 63rd and Federal, Rocky's Auto. Remember, they have your car, truck, SUV, your van, and they have all different inventory depending on when you go. They buy so many cars and sell so many. They have the biggest selection. But what I really like is they have 40 lenders to choose from. So they have all price ranges. They have all credit ranges. They have all they have great trade-in values and a great selection of colors, makes, models. Open Monday through Saturday, 9 to 8. Okay, that's great. They're also great hours. Also, a very convenient location for parking. You never have to worry about anything. Just drive up there. They say if you want to shop, but put them on the list and find out the difference. All the prices are clearly marked, so you can shop with confidence. 303-426-4646. I talked about attic fans, and I said an attic fan is useless without good ventilation in the attic, because an attic fan or a whole house fan is a fan that pulls air from the lower levels of a home out through the house, and it gets rid of the hot air that rises to the top. But if it all gets jammed in your attic, you don't. It's not a good situation. The very first thing you need, I believe, is ventilation in the attic. And so we have somebody who wants to comment on that. Jay Bretz, go ahead.
Tom, you're absolutely right about all of that, and I really like attic fans that you put up on top of the roof, because what they do is they suck that hot air out of, they pull it in the lower part of the attic and out the upper part.
Right.
I do not like the whole house fans, because the whole house fans, in order for those things to work properly, and you described it very well, but you really have to open a window or something like that downstairs in order to get that proper airflow through the house and then up through the attic. And the problem is, you can't turn them on, or if you turn them on when the outside air is still really hot, like 80 or 90 degrees, you're just going to be pulling that hot air into the house.
No, not if you have a basement. I should have mentioned that, because basements always have cooler air to pull through. That's what I was talking about, the lower level.
You're right, that basement air is cooler, but you're going to have to open a basement window or something.
But when you do, but if you get, no matter what, convection keeps the temperatures more even. That's what I'm talking about, is better. I don't think they're inefficient at all. I think where people make the mistake is having their attic just bake, and that is terrible. When their attic bakes, because it's going to cause a problem not only for the roof itself, but it's going to increase your air conditioning bills.
That's right, because that heat radiates.
No, but I understand what you're saying. I understand what you mean about a whole house fan. You don't like them. I've always found them to be a really cool alternative. Now, if you're going to use them wrong, if you don't have cooler air in a basement, if you have just a single-family home, a floor, you're not going to use it. You wouldn't use it at all.
Jay, do you sell those solar-powered ones for the attic that you install with roofs by themselves?
For the roof, yes.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
I like those.
Like the solar-powered attic fan. When I say an attic fan, that's one that I mean goes up on top of the roof.
Right.
And I love those because they are so quiet.
They're perfect.
They move a bunch of air.
And also, they're automatic. See, you don't have to wire them, and you don't have to turn them on and off. You put them up in the attic, and they're automatically powered by the sun, and they come on and off as needed, right?
That's exactly right, Tom. And those can actually help in the wintertime also, because if people have an ice damming problem, you go ahead and let the solar-powered attic fan run during the wintertime. It's going to pull the cool air through the whole system.
It's very cool.
Then you don't have to worry about the ice dam so much. But I've had a whole house fan before on a previous house, and I just didn't like it so much because I felt like it pulled in too much hot air. And you know what? I did exactly what you're saying. I opened up those basement windows.
What if somebody just wanted to buy one of those? Just one of those...
a solar-powered attic fan?
Yeah.
And have me come out and do it without the roof or anything like that?
Yeah.
$800.
Installed.
Yep.
That's cool. How much...
That's for the good one. The good ones, the photovoltaic cell makes all the difference. If you get a 10-volt photovoltaic cell, can't even talk, that does not run as strong as a 30-volt. So you want the stronger one.
Okay.
Those are the best.
Hold on, we have another comment here. George, go ahead, George.
Hi, Tom. I have one of those attic fans. It's automatic. It was easy for me to run power to a spot in the attic. Through the roof, I put a thermostatically controlled attic fan, and I've had it on probably for 15 years now, and it's just absolutely wonderful. I can go into the attic, and when it's 90 degrees, that thing is is just pulling that air out.
That's really good.
You have to have the inlet, and because that's producing the outlet at the highest point, no matter what. That's the part. But you know, a lot of people can get power up to the attic. It doesn't have to.
Yeah,
look fancy,
but I like the solar power. I know you can get power, but I like the idea of just popping one in, not worrying about it. But you're right. It doesn't have to be solar powered. We got a lot more to talk about. We're out of time. Remember, save all your problems for me. Water filtration is one of the areas of rip-offs that I hear all the time over the years. Water purification, water filtration.
I love my attic.
You know who might? I could see Al doing something like that.
Choices, the best in the industry. Why? Because the owner Al is a master plumber, not a master BSer, and he knows his stuff. Did you know that even through public water supplies, there are still many things in your water, like trace amounts of medications and sediment and metals and other materials? Not only do you get better drinking water, but better water to bathe in and to use for your entire home. You can even go water softening if you want. He knows all about that too. And water filtration, whole house or point of use, check with him first rather than get caught up in the hype. He has great value, great prices, and most importantly, the truth. PureWaterChoices.com. 720-219-7818. 720-219-7818.
This is Denver's talk station. More with Martino after the news on 630 KHOW, an iHeart radio station. KHOW, Denver.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. President Trump and French President Macron talking ties at a joint press conference.
Our occasional disagreements are nothing compared to the immortal bonds of culture, destiny, and liberty that unite us.
But President Trump, during the question and answer session, finding himself defending his oldest son's meeting last June with someone offering but not providing damaging information on Hillary Clinton, calling it part of Russia and its government support for Mr. Trump.
I think from a practical standpoint, most people would have taken that meeting. It's called opposition research, or even research into your opponent.
Former President Jimmy Carter being treated for dehydration in Canada, where the 92-year-old's helping Habitat for Humanity. And Emmy nods are in. Saturday Night Live and Westworld leading the pack with 22 nominations apiece. Fox News, we report, you decide.
This report is brought to you by the Tanner Gun Show. Mostly sunny today with a high of 84. Tonight, partly cloudy and a low of 59. Tomorrow, mostly sunny with a high of 86. For Saturday, mostly sunny and a high again in the mid-80s. This weekend, the Tanner Gun Show is at the Denver Mart, I-25 and 58th Avenue. Shop the largest selection of new and used guns, ammunition, and outdoor accessories in Colorado.
Okay, we're back up.
Gun Show this weekend at the Mart.
Boy, if people listening can only hear us when they can't hear us.
I'm going to get emails. They have to like Mark, not turning it over. Did you see?
Hail damage? Call Denver Auto Hail Repairs.
I've been damaged, not turning it over in between. I love it in between.
And it's free. You'll get an enterprise.
You get a lot of flack about
Denver
that.
Auto Hail
Oh my
Repair.
God! Don't even.
And call 303-GOT-HAIL.
If I forget, like when he's not here, there's times where literally I just totally forget.
Troubleshooter Show.
Shit, she'll have 20 emails she's forwarding me in a matter of seconds. Switch the audio. We missed Dan. Hi, Tom Martino here. Welcome to the show. 303-713-TALK, 303-713-8255. This hour brought to you by Frank Duran, therealestateman.com. He is the ultimate guy to call if you're listing your home and you want to sell. Even in your great market, you need someone to look out for your interest for sure. And if you're buying, you need your offer to stand out. Frank Duran's the man. Frank Duran, therealestateman.com, 303-920-1622. We have had so much positive review with him. Oh, it's unbelievable. 303-920-1622. John Fuller's with us, attorney at law, personal injury. We talked about a lot of stuff. Liability is a funny thing. Where do you go for liability? We had a chilling discussion about that and how you can be held liable. Employers can be held liable. Parents can be held liable. Even for adult children, there are cases where if you're paying for your kid, you can be held liable for their actions. You're just trying to help them out, but if they live with you, there could be some liability, even if they don't live with you.
and you're supporting them, something could come up that you could be liable for. What about employers? John Fuller, when are employers are almost always responsible, right? Employers, when they send employees out on the job? Almost always?
As long as that employee is operating within the course and scope of their employment.
What does that mean?
Yes. Well, that means if you are in the company vehicle and you decide to go rob a bank, pretty good chance that the employer is not going to be on the hook for that unless part of your job description is robbing banks.
Okay, so if you veer off to do something and you're not supposed to be doing it. But what if you're acting in the scope of your job while you're driving, and you're driving to a location and you run someone off the road because you're in a hurry?
Well, so again, the facts really dictate the outcome here. If you're simply driving a company vehicle, doing company business, going to a location to do business, in all likelihood, you're within the course and scope of your employment, and the employer would be liable in in tort for any damages.
How about if your plumber comes in and kills your dog? Are they going to be liable for your dog, the plumbing company? Because that's not in the scope.
No, but he was there as a plumber. Yes, it is in the scope. If he broke into your home, no.
No, I'm saying if you hired someone that came to your house, I don't care who it is, you get furniture delivered, and the guy's dropping the couch, and he decides to rape somebody in the other room. You're not going to go. You can go after that company?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, you certainly can.
Yes, you can.
And
wow,
you got to understand that not all these paths to liability are as direct as just 1, 2, 3. Some of it comes in the form of like a negligent supervision or negligent hiring or negligent failure to find out about the 4 rape convictions back in Alabama or something that went on. I mean, you hear about all these cases, and in hindsight, it seems crystal clear. But to an employer that's trying to get a truck on the road, maybe not so much. But liability can come in a lot of different forms.
Yes. In fact, we had cases. We had a case where house cleaners killed a dog, and the attorney, we turned it over to an attorney. That attorney went after the house cleaning company, and they got damages way more than the dog because they let the dog out. They weren't supposed to. The dog got hit by a car. They put the dog back underneath the dining table in the dog bed where it died, an excruciating death. It was terrible.
That is horrible.
Huh?
No,
you're kidding.
He's not kidding.
And they sued. And we got this animal attorney. The animal attorney sued and got damages, a lot of damages, because it was egregious.
See, if I'm in the scope of a crime, though, my homeowners generally is not going to cover me for anything. I mean, if I intentionally push you down my stairs and then they sue me, I mean, they have an out there. Yeah, so I don't understand why the companies wouldn't have an out if their employee is doing something out of the scope of work that is a crime.
But, Mark, I think where you're confused is in and out of the scope of work. What we mean by scope of work is this. If you're going there as a plumber, you're at the house as a plumber.
You're on the job.
You're in the scope of your job. Raping the woman is not in the scope of the job, but being there as the plumber, that's what puts you at the scene. Sure. But if you, as John said, are a plumber on your way to a home and you go off course to rob a bank, you are not in the course of your job. If you went to the bank as a plumber because they had a leak in the bank and then robbed the bank, that's different. It's just being in the scope of the job.
Is the yappy little dog on the inside of the door a foreseeable issue when you show up as the plumber? Of course it is.
But what he just said on that bank one, so the plumber goes to the bank, and then the plumber robs the bank? You're telling me the plumbing company is going to be responsible for the robbery?
Yes, could be. Yes, if he's there as the plumber, yes, as the plumber, because they called that company sent that employee to that bank, and if that employee was not trustworthy and robbed the bank, yes, they would be. I guarantee you they'd be sued. I don't know if they.
That goes back to everything I just said, Mark, about the reasonable selection of the guy and the lack of background selection and all that kind of stuff.
But if the guy is going to your house as the plumber and veers off and goes to the bank had nothing to do with his job as the plumber. He is outside the scope of his employment.
Or let's say the plumber goes to the bar at lunch and has 6 shots and then goes back out on the roadway. There's no way that going and having shots for lunch is going to be within the course and scope of the duties of their employment.
Right.
And so if you get in an accident on the way leaving the bar, very likely that's not going to, inure.
Well, no, let's go to what Tom's example would be then. The guy is called to the bar to fix the plumbing.
Very different.
And then he has a bunch of shots when he leaves. is that the company's fault?
That's a toss-up.
He was in the scope of work.
That's going to be a tough one.
That's different than if you are robbing a bank, which is illegal. Drinking is not. Drinking is a judgment call. That is a whole different ballgame. When you are at the bank to do the plumbing job for the bank, you're not there to rob the bank, whereas at a bar, they serve liquor, and serving liquor is not illegal, and drinking is not illegal.
Yeah, it's just, as a former employer of over 50 people, it's just hard for me to think, okay, one of my techs goes on a test drive, and during the test drive, you know, whatever, he's drinking, he's doing whatever, causes this huge thing. All of a sudden, that's my issue. Although his only scope of work was test driving that car, not stopping and robbing a bank or whatever else the example happens to be.
Did you let your employees drink while they were test driving?
Right, God, exactly. No, but you don't. How do you control that if you don't know?
That's not the scope of their job. Policies and procedures in place to make sure that that didn't happen. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. It was your failure to supervise your tech.
Yeah, I guess. If I hired someone and then we found out I didn't do a background check and they had 40 DUIs and no license, I see that would be my issue. But someone that's never had any issues or no past issues that they've been caught of, it seems different.
And what happens?
Well, anything. They drink while they're test driving a car.
But, Mark, that's not the scope of their employment. If they're drinking while driving, that's not the scope of their employment. So again, you mix apples with oranges all the time in your discussions. It's not the scope of their job. If the scope of their job was to taste liquor, I mean, that's different. Then they shouldn't be driving while they're tasting liquor. They should be at a bar. So they're doing the course of their job, but they're driving. That's stupid. We didn't tell you to do it while you're driving. Or if they're editing a book, their job is an editor. Yes, they're in the scope of their job, but they're driving. No one told you to drive while you're doing it. You're stupid. You know, it's weird. Mark, the whole thing is this, is that if your person does something totally outside their scope, totally, and there's no way you could have foreseen it and prevented it, you can't be held responsible. But if it's reasonable, they're there, and it's tempting, and they do it, you send people into people's homes.
Right.
You are responsible for them in their home.
Right.
You are.
But you just said, you said something that was really important there, though, and that's within your ability to prevent it.
Right.
So back to your example of your tech, if you happen to have a bar in the back room of your shop, like all tire shops, and your tech is walking by it every day going out to test drive those cars, I mean, you could make the argument that that was really negligent of you as an employer to have a stocked bar right in the back room where the techs are walking by every day. So you can always come up with circumstances where something better could have been done. And that the difference between something better that could have been done and what was done in many situations is liability.
And the insurance company, because ultimately that's who would pay or you'd be going after, John, I mean, God, it seems to me they would have an argument because they didn't sign up.
Oh, yeah. These are all hotly litigated battles.
That's why we have court.
There's so little of this as just ironclad black and white. It's all gray areas.
One of the and one of them is employment, where the employer is held responsible. That's one of that has the most gray area as to what are they responsible for. But unfortunately for employers, they're responsible for a lot more than they think. Unfortunately. Jesse, what's going on with you, Jesse?
Just trying to get back to my customers, Tom.
Okay.
I got my good friend has a problem with Bank of America.
What's going on?
So, long story short, she went to go get a small auto loan from another bank. I can't remember which one she said, for $8,000. And then out of the blue, they ran the paperwork and came back saying that the house the Bank of America foreclosed on 4 years ago is still owed $238,000. They sold it for less than market value, and so on and so forth. So that's the problem they're dealing with right now.
So Jesse, this friend of yours, that was her house that was foreclosed on?
Correct.
Okay, and there was a deficiency, they're saying.
That part I can't remember.
Well, yeah, if they're suing her for $238, or if they're trying to collect $238, or just showing it due.
Yeah, exactly. And they keep saying, yeah, they're showing it due as $238,000.
Okay.
But they're also lying through their teeth. They've been trying to supposedly send her the paperwork on this for 4 years to the address of the house they foreclosed on. She's done change of address forms, so that's a straight up lie.
That has
Otherwise, it would have got to her.
But it has nothing to do with it. That doesn't diminish the $238,000. The fact that they didn't send it to her. I mean, notice of deficiency doesn't negate the deficiency. So what argument is that? I mean, so they have a deficiency.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Right.
What I'm trying to get to is she needs to get this cleared up. I don't know if she needs to do a Chapter 13, 9, or 7.
Yeah.
But she needs to get this cleared up so she can buy a house someday and get a car loan, you know what I mean?
A Chapter 7 would be probably what to do because that's complete liquidation. Otherwise, she'd have to do a payment plan on $238,000 based on her assets. Here's the thing. Does she have any assets?
Minimal, yeah, but she does.
Like what?
I know.
Like what?
Cars, mostly stuff like small things like cars, motorcycles.
Well, that's not okay. They don't go after that stuff unless it's a lot of money. I mean, if you have a couple grand in equity in each car, you're not going to get there's not going to be a lot of problems unless they're classic cars. They're worth a lot of money, or she has a home or real estate or jewelry, expensive jewelry. This is not a big deal, but most likely that's what she needs is a bankruptcy. I mean, it's just one of those things, and I got to tell you that this deficiency judgment is for real. I mean, I don't know if it's a judgment actually. I'm assuming it is, but it's for real, and she does have to deal with it. And so I would suggest she go to a bankruptcy attorney. I mean, honest to goodness, would do it like Wink and Wink, for example. I would
Wink and Wink, yeah, that's the one you always recommend.
And they're good people. They're really, at least talk to them, because maybe she would want a Chapter 13 if her situation is so bad that she would have to make payments over a long period of time. But I think she would be quicker with a 7 to establish credit, because that gets over with pretty quickly. It's just done and over with, then you start building credit again. And I just think that's the way to do it. Now, you said they sold it under market value and all of that. The challenge how many years ago was this?
About 4. It was 3 3/4 thereabouts.
Okay. It's going to be almost impossible to challenge the deficiency. Deficiencies can be challenged if you can prove. Now, I'm not just saying you think or you suspect, but if you can prove that they sold it to an insider, a friend, a close associate, it wasn't an arm's length transaction, stuff like that. If you can prove there was hanky-panky, but that's almost impossible. I've never really seen default judgments successfully challenged, because you put it on the open market, people bid for it, and if the bid comes in, it's market. You can't say it's under market, because an auction process can't be under market. I mean,
you know, it's like a short sale or something.
It's because if somebody is willing to pay it, and it's not engineered, it's not fake.
It is the market.
Yeah, that is what the market is. So let me give you a Wink and Wink. It's winkandwink.com, 303-410-1720. 303-410-1720. Let's talk about Ideal Home Loans. Speaking of getting a home someday, by the way, Ideal does have a program. This is important. They do have a program to work with people who want to buy in the future. If you're not ready, credit-wise or otherwise, or you want to know what you need to do, for example, they have a guy, Craig Becker, who is a great guy, and what he does is he works with people in the credit department to get you ready to borrow for a home. He can tell you what to do with your credit, what you need to do with credit cards, what you need to do with addresses, because sometimes if your addresses are wrong and it shows you move too often, little things on your credit can make a big deal. They do work with people every day to build credit for future purchases. It's wonderful. And then when you build up your credit, they work with you. Now, of course, if you just want to refinance or buy a home and you have great credit, they love you too, of course. That's what they do. And the great thing is you don't have to worry about interest rates fluctuating, because if they go down, you didn't miss the boat. If you refi or buy with Ideal and rates go down, they have a 2-year interest rate guarantee from the date you close. They'll do it again for you free of all lender fees. So isn't that good? You don't have to pay again to get refinanced. 303-867-7000. 867-7000. IdealHomeLoans.com.
This report is brought to you by Lowe's.
Bit of a problem in Englewood, Littleton area, Bellevue, westbound, right at Broadway. Got a pickup truck went in the back of the Tesla there. It's causing some problems on the right lane. I'm sure Parkside Road didn't explode. Quincy and Hampton seeing some slowdowns in both directions with an earlier crash at that location. Got a dump truck on its side up on US 36 west of Lyons. About 5 miles outside of town, but it is causing some serious issues up there.
I should give you money to pay college, and you can
Clear
drop my
skies
son.
today, a high of 83. Tomorrow,
Yeah, it's crazy though, isn't it? What's that? Just how they can
Reliability.
go after
So just like say, with the thing through your employer, you're going to keep insurance on them till 26, right? Health insurance, right? So is that considered
every day?
your
The part of your household? I don't know why you'd keep them on your health insurance to that age. No, you're allowed to.
They're going to school?
Yeah, I know, but I mean, hopefully they get rid of that shit too. That's another.
But if they're going to school and stuff, I mean, it's
all areas of business, except when it
scared the shit out of you, John.
I prefer them. No, he's scared the piss out of me too. If you owe back taxes,
I want you to adopt my son.
filed, these guys are the best. They're smart, they have a fantastic team of experts, and will understand your situation. Their name says it all. Larson Tax Relief. Relief from your tax debt problems. Larson will get you the absolutely best possible resolution. You won't have to worry about your wages being garnished or losing your house. Larson will get between you and the IRS. He'll save you thousands and thousands of dollars. I trust Ron and Jack Larson.
You know,
and their
most of
team
the time,
experts, and you can too. 844
nothing like that ever
Larson
comes
Tax.
up. You know, and in most cases, the damages are not.
But you said the guy's out drinking and driving, right? Well, if he's drinking and smoking dope and ski down ski resort, he hits someone.
What the hell's the word terse mean? T-E-R-S. It's like abrupt.
Yeah, they're very terse. Where
because in other words, what?
The damages were not capped, and so the kid and his father can see very clearly the potential that a jury would absolutely wallet his ass for those circumstances. They were willing to say, we're out of here.
But yours didn't even go to jury, right?
Oh, hell no.
Plumbline services for your plumbing, heating, cooling, electric, and drains. And something I want to mention about drains, they're one of the few companies, and I mean few, 2 or 3, that have their own drain division. They own the backhoes. They own the equipment. They are the ones with the crew to do the work. In fact, they do work all the time for themselves. They don't sub out that work. And that's the important thing. All these other guys, if they say you need drain work, they simply sub it out. If you want to work with the original, work with Plumbline Services, and they'll take care of you. They also will help you in all of your other systems in plumbing, heating, cooling, and electric. Free second opinions for any major repair. So you don't even have to pay a call charge. They'll come out and check it out for you. They'll tell you if you have a great deal or take a shot at your business. Yeah, that's great. Water heater, a service change, an upgrade, or drain work, or air conditioning. They'll tell you if you truly need it and would love to give you a second opinion free of charge. If you decide to get an air conditioner, it's half off right now with the purchase of a furnace, and you get up to $1,370 in utility company rebates. And they'll finance you for 12 months with 0% financing, plus you get 10 years warranty on both parts and labor. That's the important thing. The labor included in that. 303-586-1086. 303-586-1086. PlumblineServices.com.
Hear about it.
Collusion with the Russian government.
Obstruction of justice.
North Korea replaced Obamacare.
Context. You might have to name. I'm looking to name my boat down in Florida, you know. I just can't come up with a good name.
Pocket gopher. It's not a good
You
name.
should put it out. On here. What's a good name for your boat?
No, that's not.
The Ass Man.
Right.
Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. Welcome. John Fuller with us from Fuller Law. Let's go to the phone. Steve's got a comment on pocket gophers. Every time we mention gophers, we get 1 or 2 comments. People love gophers. What's happening, Steve?
I was calling.
Yeah.
I get parking. So anyway, had to talk a little about it. Anyway.
Okay, you're doing fine. What's happening?
Well, I used to drive them when I was little. We used to get 25 cents per gopher.
Why?
Oh, my God. Dan, I swear to God, yesterday he used to get 25 cents per goat.
But why do you get 25 cents for each
one? To get rid of them. You cut off the hands, right?
What?
Cut off 2 front feet.
You cut off the front feet, you turn them into the state, and they give you a quarter.
What?
Oh, my gosh.
In Minnesota at the time. This is about 30, 40 years ago. I'm 64.
I swear to God, Dan told me this crap yesterday, and I looked at him like he's a nut.
So that brings back good memories when we talk about gophers?
Well, I used to do a lot of trapping in Minnesota all the time. We went to school, we'd take our traps, and after school we'd go take the trap to see him. Actually, we got, it was, 25 cents was a neighbor with like a private guy with feet, and then it's you got it from the county. Anyway.
So where did you have to turn him in?
Ford dealer.
To a Ford dealer?
Well, yeah, of course.
Why? Oh, okay, Steve. Thank you. Anyway.
Dan, tell him, explain that real quick, what you used to do. That's insane.
No, the township pays to get rid of them because they dig up roads and farmers and stuff. My mom was actually the clerk for the township, so we just have to give her
You give her the feet.
The 2 front feet, because they're the big ones, right?
Literally, you had to cut off the feet.
Right.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
And you'd get 25 cents.
No, they were dead when you cut them off.
Well, I know, but still.
That's better than dropping the whole thing off.
What did you cut them off with?
A knife or a pliers.
So they turn
whatever's laying around.
Whatever's laying around.
They're making these kids bloodlusty. I mean, come on.
Well, back when he was young, a quarter could buy you a small house.
So you would cut these up, and you'd bring in like a bag full of paws.
Right. People bring up
almost. You know.
That's right. They'd usually put them in salt, so it'd preserve them. So over the summer, people would bring big jars of feet.
They'd have to bring 2 for each gopher, though.
Right.
So I asked him, what happens if it was a 3-legged gopher? What do? You don't get paid, do you?
37.5 cents.
So these guys would go out and trap them, cut off the legs, take them in, get 25 cents.
Not these guys, him.
Give me an idea how much you would make.
Some of these guys and stuff would come in with 50 pairs of feet.
How about you?
We weren't very good trappers.
He's a gopher serial killer.
Like, how many would you get?
Maybe we'd make $5 over the summer.
That's pretty good, though, right? You had $5 you didn't have before.
My mom had to count all these feet. That was her job, and she didn't get paid.
You had to count gopher feet. What is your job? Well, I count gopher feet.
That the neighborhood children bring me.
I can't even imagine. I count What's my line? I count gopher feet for the county. She would have won that one every time. Dina, what's going on? Dina, we have some lines open. I should mention 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. What's going on, Dina?
Yeah, hey Tom, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you fine. Is this with Interstate Roofing?
Yes, it is.
Is it a problem?
Yep, it is a problem.
Okay, they're on. Do you know they're on our referral list?
You know what?
No, they're not. I thought they were. Hold on, Suzanne. They were.
They were. If they were, fine, but they're not.
Are you sure they're not?
I'll double, triple check.
They were on our referral list. I can almost. Dina, more importantly, did you find them on our referral list?
You know what? I did not.
Okay.
I went through the Better Business
We're going to clarify it. We're going to clarify it. They were on the referral list. I don't want to make sure. So they are, right, Mark? So
yes.
So tell me, Dina, what is the problem?
Okay. Well, my problem, the current situation is that to have my roof replaced.
Yes.
I talked to Interstate Roofing, and we were moving forward,
yes.
And I was asked to select a shingle color, and they'd get moving on the project, and if I could select a single color and a payment, they'd get started.
Okay.
And I said, well, we can do the color, but I'm not, I'd like to wait for the payment as advised by my insurance company until it's completed.
Right.
So the work...
Well, if they deliver... Okay, go ahead. What happened? Go ahead.
The work started on my home on Friday.
Okay.
And Friday evening, the project supervisor came to check on the work and got up on the roof to take a look around and see what the crew had done for the day. And when he came down, he said, "Oh, wait a minute! This is an this is an HOA community, isn't it? And I said, well, yeah, it's an HOA. And he said, well, I think we may have a problem with the shingle color. Because it's a different color than the, when you're up on the apex of the roof, you can see, he's saying you can see that it's a different color. And I said, oh, really? Okay. We just moved forward with the shingle color.
Well, hold on a second, Dina. Who picked the shingle? You?
Yeah, we worked to, I was given a whole sample book of shingles.
I understand. And did you know? Yeah. And did you know that you had an HOA and had to have a certain color?
I knew that I had an HOA, but I wasn't aware that there was a color restriction on the shingles.
Well, hold on a second. Was there a color restriction or not?
They do have shingles that need a certain. Yeah, they do have.
Well, that's a yes or a no. Do they have color restrictions or not? Yes or no? I just want to. Is it?
Oh yeah, yes.
Okay, so it's a lucky thing they found that out before it was done, or was it already done?
No, it's about 50%.
Well,
done.
You're lucky that they cut it off at 50%, don't you think? I mean, it's not up to them to know what colors are allowed and not. I mean, so what happened then?
Well, so that's as we're moving forward, I need to get it through the design review committee for my HOA, which is fair.
Okay.
But I've asked them to let me represent myself with my HOA.
What would be wrong with that? I mean, do they want to do it?
Well, they've been moving forward with it and wanting to talk to my HOA, and my concern.
They probably don't want a roof sitting there half shingled.
Well, hold on, no, Dina. What?
No.
I don't see why they wouldn't let you if you want to handle it. But why wouldn't you want them to take care of that hassle?
Well, I think that I would like to, because right now with the various correspondence that's gone back and forth, I'm getting a lot of mixed messages, and I don't know that it's in my best interest to let them represent me, because if they don't represent me well and the design committee doesn't sign off on it, the cost is to me.
Okay. So you're saying, okay, no, I understand that. I understand that. But so you're saying, let me get this straight then. You're saying that you want them not to represent you because you don't think it's in your best interest. So I want to ask, what kind, and you have every right to represent yourself. They don't have to represent you. But I want to know, what messages were you getting that gave you the impression they're not doing a good job representing you? That's what I'm more concerned about. What kind of mixed messages are you getting?
Well, the mixed messages I'm getting is the phone conversation that I had with the who I believe is the owner of Interstate Roofing when I spoke with him on Saturday, that said that this would be taken care of. They understood that their salesperson was new and that this was a mistake that, he wouldn't obviously make again, that they would take care of it. They didn't want to have any additional expense to me.
But I don't understand what mixed messages you're getting as far as the HOA goes.
Yeah, what I said was, I was going to go ahead and talk to my HOA on Monday. What is the benefit of you talking to them instead of me? And his reply was, I have 12 years in the business. I understand, if they have any questions on specifications and all of this. So I said, so then they went forward, but it turned out that they sent the salesperson, who I was told on Saturday is green and new and had made this mistake, or didn't have enough knowledge in the business.
Well, I want to make something clear, Dina. I want to make something clear, Dina, and I'd say this no matter who it is, and people listening to the show know it. It's not up to your salesman to know what colors you're allowed. If I come to paint your house, if I come to do a driveway, if I come to do a roof, if I come to do window shutters, and you pick them, it's not up to me to know that your HOA needs a certain amount or certain colors. Now, if you want to represent yourself, we'll make a phone call and you'll represent yourself in a split second.
I'm asking if I have the right.
You absolutely have the right. You absolutely have the right. But I want you to know something.
So if going forward, I have asked them to please not contact my HOA. I'd like to work with my HOA directly so that I have all the information.
I agree with
my HOA.
If that's what you want to do.
If that's what I'd like to do, and that I can ask to do that?
Well, listen, Dina,
I'm really trying to find out.
you can absolutely do it, and you don't even have to do it. We'll do it for you. We'll get it done for you.
No, I'm capable.
Okay.
I'm capable of hauling that water. I can.
Well, what's
contact
the
my
roof look
HOA.
like now, though? What condition's it in? You said it was half done. What does that mean?
It means that
half
part
done.
of the shingles have half done. Part of the shingles have been applied.
Well, they might want to just get it done and over so they can get the roof finished.
But Mark, what difference does that make? She wants to talk to her own HOA.
I don't know. She started the conversation off that she didn't want to pay him anything yet, so I don't know.
I was going to. I found the payment will be, once the roof is complete.
Dina, I have no problem with that. I have no problem with anything you've said at all. Okay. Nothing. Okay?
Excellent.
You're completely reasonable, completely within your rights. Absolutely. And I'm sure that I think what Mark is saying is they just want to make sure that you get it through the HOA because they would hate to have to do this damn thing again, and they would hate the bad feelings it would cause if you had to pay some extra money. That's what I hear them saying. And I think they're also saying we probably can get it through easier or better because we know them or we've worked with them. Who knows? Or we've not them, but we know HOAs in general. But the bottom line is this. If you want to handle it, you absolutely have the right, and it's completely reasonable to handle it. So go ahead and handle it. I mean, if you need help, you call us directly. Suzanne, give her a back number and do it, okay? By the way, they are on the referral list. She did not find them there, but Dina, you're going to get help, okay? David Salisbury, attorney at law, also on my referral list, referralist.com. Let's talk about what can happen if we don't open a probate. Is it necessary? Or let's better yet say, what are the consequences of not opening a probate?
Okay, Tom. Well, let me give you an example. I had a new client come in this week. His father died about 5 years ago. His mom just died a few months ago. The dad, who died earlier, owned their house only in his name. They never did anything to transfer the house into her name. Now she's died, and they want to transfer it into the kids' names. Well, that means I'm going to have to do a probate from Dad so the property goes from Dad to Mom, and then a probate so it goes from Mom to the kids. Now, it's double the trouble, double the cost, and the thing is, if Dad had used the beneficiary deed, and then Mom had used the beneficiary deed, we wouldn't be talking about this. Or if Mom had or Dad had at least put the property in joint names, he would have died, and at least Mom would have owned the property without probate. So that's the problem. When you have a real property that needs to be transferred and you die, there has to be a probate.
That's important. And if you need someone to help you do it, David Salisbury, attorney at law, 720-493-3911. 720-493-3911. That's David Salisbury, attorney at law. And, of course, he can do all kinds of planning, trusts, probate, and wills. That's David Salisbury, and you can find him on my referral list at referralist.com.
This report is brought to you by Lowe's.
Big problems on I-7.
How much time do I have?
RV and trailer on
22 minutes, 24.
I didn't like one bit of that.
Now both directions of I-70 right now because of snow.
I did plumb line, just so you know.
They just want
They wanted to help her, and
The only one I have in this break, I don't have another one in this break.
who's going to want to have
What's that?
Right now, you got both directions closed down on I-70 at El Rancho at this point. Looks like a hot weather again today, 85 for the high. Same thing tomorrow.
She'd have to do, if there was another hailstorm, and it caused more damage, I mean, basically, it's going to be another claim on her insurance set, right?
That's a top right now, 630
Yeah, but that wouldn't matter if it was full done or half done. It's still
Oh, well, the rainstorm is half done, now it goes...
No, I'm saying because only half of it's done.
I'm sure they have the tar paper down, for God's sake. They don't start laying asphalt before they have it all dried
No,
in.
you're right, they probably tarred it all. You're
Well, they
right.
have to. You don't do
You gotta put
You do it all, dry it in, and then you do the asphalt.
They're fucking huge, man.
Windows, siding, or
They're like number 30 expertise in the country. They're one of the largest roofers in the country.
You'll pay no interest.
Anytime I've ever called them, they don't even
Every American-made champion
one guy ever called back?
expert craftsmen.
Why does Suzanne say they're not on the list?
Exclusive comfort
I don't know.
365 points. And Champions limited
Suzanne,
lifetime
why
warranty
do you
covers
think
the frame,
Interstate
glass,
is not on the
hardware,
list?
and even installation.
You want to know how long they've been on?
How long?
24,
250
20 plus.
off every Champion window and pay no interest or payments.
Referral list by Google. Referral list plus the company name. It's usually the first or second one that came up, and it was like the seventh one down.
Oh, you know why? Because they're the 13th largest in the country.
Oh, but you didn't put it on. You didn't put it on the referral list itself, sir.
That's Get Champion.
I did not go into the. I get better results by Google. Referral list company.
Craft beers on tap and pizza. The Modern Eater and the Modern Drinker shows will be live this Saturday from 6 to 8 p.m. at Crafty Fox Tap House and Pizzeria, right here on Top Radio 630 KHOW.
Do you think you pay too much to sell a house? Hi, this is John Vizzi with Colorado Flat Fee Realty.
I can't wait to hear
$400,000 house and the agent charges you 6%. That'll cost you $24,000 for just a few days' work.
Carl,
Flat Fee Realty is a much better way. On a $400,000 sale, you would save.
well, I guess they released whatever it is. I haven't read it.
Okay. Why do this with anyone else?
I'm curious. It's just Obamacare too.
ColoradoFlatFeeRealty.com.
I guess Peyton Manning hosted the ESPY Board. 2.8% co-op appliance.
Yeah, now back to the stuff everyone's talking about on 630 KHOW, Denver's talk station.
Oh, you're right a while back.
Hi, Tom Martino, your troubleshooter. 303-713-TALK. 303-713-8255. The first time today, completely open lines. You can get right through. If you want to rant and rave, I'll even give you a minute to do that. No, let's make it 30 seconds. 30 seconds for your rants, uninterrupted airtime. Or if you have a problem, question, or complaint, you've been waiting, you can get right through. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. Now, we do have personal injury attorney John Fuller with us from Fuller Law. Did you guys know that, you probably didn't even know this, there was a strike that went on, a labor strike that no one even knew about? A labor strike. At the
airport?
Oh, you know about it? See? Did you know about it, Mark? Did you know about it, Dan? Do you know who it is that struck?
Like the janitors or something that are...
No, the people that clean the airplanes.
Right.
Did it affect your life? Why did they strike?
Wages.
So why do you know this? I'm very impressed. Why do you know this? But I'm impressed that he knows that the people who clean the cabins of the airplanes in between flights struck.
I find it strange that they clean from front to back instead of starting at the back and clean forward.
Oh, will you stop? They clean. I don't know how they clean. He's making fun of me because I think they should load planes from the back, which, by the way, they have done. That's a Frontier did it. Did you know something? People with section number 1 were in the back, and people with section number 6 were in the front. When they loaded that plane, they loaded from the back forward. They didn't load from the back of the plane, in other words, the door. But I was amazed at the last flight I took. You know the boarding sections, now boarding section 1. Now boarding section 2. When they said boarding section 1, it was in the back of the plane. Section 2 was up further, and then you got to the front of the plane, which was section 6.
How would you hold a seat then, though?
No, that's Frontier, where you're assigned a seat.
Okay.
Let's talk to Grant. We have some lines open. 303-713-TALK, 713-8255. Grant, what's going on?
I got summoned to court from a credit collection company.
Yes.
And it wasn't signed by clerk of court. I was wondering if it's still valid.
Now, were you actually served?
Well, I wasn't personally. They threw it in our front door.
Well, but I mean, you were served is what I mean. It was there.
Yeah, it was there.
Okay. So, what do you mean it wasn't signed?
So, on the paperwork they handed me, there's a area where it says...
well, what do you mean they handed you? I thought you just said it was thrown in the doorway.
It was. Once I looked at it, I was looking it over, and there was an area that wasn't signed by the county.
Well, so did they hand it to you or not?
No, they didn't.
Okay, but the thing you found in the doorway was not signed.
Right.
Okay, does it have to be, John? What is he talking about? Signed. I don't know what he's talking about.
Well,
I never heard of the clerk of the court signing a summons.
You know, these days, Tom, we don't sign a lot of court things because they're all filed electronically and stuff, so there's electronic signatures. Generally, if it's being served by an attorney or some law firm, their filing of it is kind of an attestation that they signed it, so it's an electronic signature, and that defense won't work.
Yeah.
You know, back in the day, we used to have to sign everything, you know, in ink, hard copy, and then serve originals, but not so much today.
Okay, so, in other words, when you file the lawsuit, you actually file it online.
Yes.
But you still have to serve people.
Well, so I file them online, attorneys file them online, but you can walk into the clerk's office and file one by hand. So
right, but you still, but the service part of it is still in person. You can't serve someone online.
Absolutely. That
he needs to show up, or he's going to get a default judgment.
Right, that's the thing, Grant. Do you have a date?
The 27th of this month.
Yeah, and what is the amount due?
$2,800.
And is it a bill that is really yours?
It is, yeah.
I'm going to give them a warning, too, because here's what they'll do. They get that default judgment, or if you show up and they get the judgment, that very second they're going to hit you with what's called interrogatories. And they're going to ask for your bank account. They're going to ask for where the money is if they win. And you better fill that out, and you better get it back, or you can actually get arrested.
Yeah. Now, Grant.
So do I fill that out before the court date?
Why? Did they put... No, you don't fill it out before. Do they have one included in that summons? They didn't put one in with the summons, did they?
No.
Okay, listen, here's what you need to do. You need to show up, okay? And and if you truly owe the money, you need to hope they'll settle with you. But if they do, and it's before the court, you know, if it's in the hallway, make sure that you go in with them and they tell the judge we have a settlement. Because if it's not entered into court record and you leave, some attorneys, I'm not saying really good ones, but there are some sleazy ones that would walk in the court and say, wait a minute, he didn't show up, and then they get a default judgment when you thought you had a settlement. So
and they will hit them with those interrogatories if they get a judgment that second.
Right, but you don't want to go in with a set of rogs filled out. That's crazy talk.
No, that's crazy. Don't do that.
Okay.
But Grant, you should try to settle it if you owe it. You really should. Or do a bankruptcy.
Could I call the attorney that filed the summons, and
if you're not represented, it's perfectly fine to call the attorney. That's who you need to call. You don't call the party.
How old's the debt, by the way?
It's only a year old.
Oh, okay.
We started a business, and funds have been tight.
Okay,
we plan on paying it. Just
Grant, try to work out a payment plan or something, man. Anything's better than having a judgment entered.
Sure.
John, is that something you would do?
No.
No, that's not the type of stuff. But I can tell you that Tom's advice is dead on. You know, talk to this creditor, talk to the attorney at the courthouse or even before. You'll often find that they'll enter into agreements and stuff, payment plans, that kind of stuff, that, you know, really you're better off being by yourself because you know what you can afford and you can do. So, you know.
Now, we have Al Aramis from Pro Auto Care. Al, what's going on?
Hey, Tom, you know, good thing's a good thing. Yesterday, we offered a great deal on the phone, and you know what? The phones rang. And it's all part of what we do. We just want to get people to come in. We give them a great price. Let us look at a maintenance service that you're always going to do in your car, which is an oil change. We'll do that with synthetic blend motor oil, premium filter. We're going to rotate your tires.
I can't believe this. Yeah.
And we're doing it for everybody. Even those that have come in, I want to give them a thanks. It's a great deal. $14.95.
It is unbelievable.
You can't beat it. You can't go to the store and buy it. Why would you want to get dirty and get under your car? This is an opportunity for us to get to meet you. If you haven't been to us, find out why we've been around for 25 years doing it right. And I'm doing $59.95 on full synthetic on your passenger vehicle. So, great deal.
So, a regular oil change, $14.95. That's with filter and tire rotation. And full synthetic available at Pro Auto Care, 303 Pro Auto. That's 303 Pro Auto, 2 locations near Evans and I-25, near Bowles and Santa Fe. And, of course, they do all auto maintenance and repairs for you. They're your car nanny. They keep track of it for you, and they will notify you whenever something is due. I love that service. And that's also in between all your repairs, you get roadside assistance. That's 303 Pro Auto. Okay, let's talk really quickly about BioT Medical. I get questions all the time about the hormone replacement, which is really hormone optimization. Listen, we do not produce the same hormones we did when we were younger. As you get older, they deplete. And it's just logical, not natural, but logical to replenish them. You see, nature would have you shrivel up and die, and that's really what it does. You age and you die, and you shrivel up and you get sore, you get cranky, you lose your libido, you lose your energy. With hormone replacement, you trick your body. You do age management the right way, and that's with biotmedical.com. They can deliver testosterone, estrogen, also some thyroid hormones. Whatever you need, BioT will balance and optimize, and they do the most natural delivery system with these pellets under your skin that slowly secrete the hormone over time like your gland would, and you only have to do it, let's say, 3 times a year, 2 times a year, because of how it's delivered. It secretes a lot if you work out a lot, or slower if you don't. It's wonderful. You will love it. You will love the way you feel. biotmedical.com for a provider near you. biotmedical.com and look for a provider.
This report is brought to you by Discover Student Loans.
Heads up, I-70 westbound El Rancho got a RV that's on fire with an ATV on the back of it, and looks like it's been flaming pretty good. They got all westbound shut down right now on I-70 at El Rancho. Eastbound is open to traffic.
This guy's trying to get to the area right now. He's an illegal, got picked up by ICE in Denver. Wants to know if an attorney that could help him pro bono. Let me see here. John Fuller, Fuller Law. John, what's your cell?
808-9912.
And you speak. You'll hire him.
It's a long time ago, John.
We need to start giving this number out.
So this is kind of fun. This guy used Vivax Pros and wants to do an impression of Tom, giving kudos, doing a live read for one of our referrals. Does that make sense? He thinks he can do an impression of Tom, and he wants to do it as a commercial for Vivax because he used it.
What was the email you were talking about? I don't have my email.
Oh, he's like, God. Oh, Tom, all you do is you chew with your mouth open, and it just bugs the crap out of me, and I got spaghetti swirling in my head when I listen to you chew with your mouth open over the air.
He hasn't eaten anything.
Oh, that's like
I know, he was just wiping his mouth. He wasn't eating.
Oh, it's kind of funny.
Maybe he thought he was eating, but no, he was just wiping his mouth.
I don't even understand why people are beating up on him.
We vet anybody coming anywhere to do this.
Well, I guess this isn't bad. I didn't know what this was.
On Denver's Talk Station, 630 KHOW.
It's a moratorium.
It's egregious. It's outrageous.
It's egregious. It's outrageous. It's preposterous.
Welcome back to the show. 303-713-8255. Thomas will walk back in. John Fuller, I got to ask you something. You weren't happy. You weren't happy, and I'm being serious. You weren't happy with what they offered us, that person that T-boned us. You came to me and we sat down, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and you said, I don't think this is fair, and went back. So here's the real question for you. That's the only personal injury case I've ever dealt with in my life. You know, I'm not talking about questions coming into the show. I've just never had to deal with one, thank God. And you know the injuries were there with Suzanne, and she had a broken nose and all kinds of problems. But here's my question. If I didn't go with you, and I went with one of these stupid ones on TV at night that, you know, were advertised during the day to, you know, anybody and everybody, and they're basically a factory, I bet they would have taken the initial offer. I'm being very serious here. I was surprised because for you to go in and litigate something cost you more time, cost you more money, cost everything, but you knew it wasn't fair. So, I mean, is that one of the things that differentiates you between these mills out there?
I'd like to think it does, but I also think it's important that you came in and sat down with me, and that's something that not every client of every firm really has an opportunity to do. And, you know, you got to understand, I on purpose don't have a firm that runs 1,000 cases, okay? The only way you can become a client of my firm is by sitting down with me, and that's That's on purpose. That's the type of relationship I want to have with my client.
Tom, I was comparing them to these mills you see on TV.
No, I understand. We all know about them. And, or people who give themselves funny nicknames, you know, like, you know.
Well, the one I do like
that smelly guy.
I hope someday they load you on a Southwest plane backwards with the smelly guy.
The cadaver. I call him the cadaver bulldog. What's his name? Cadaver?
Brian the bulldog.
Brian the cadaver Moore. Bill, what's happening?
I have a pet peeve that you violate all the time.
Go ahead.
And you always say, I thought you were going to do it with a Biotin commercial where the results are incredible or unbelievable. Why should I go there if the results are not credible?
No, I know what you mean.
Not believable?
I know what you mean. Yep, I say that. Incredible.
You do have a diction kind of issue, unlike me.
Yes. Bill, you're right about that, and technically you're right. And then there are so many things that we say in the language that they don't make sense, but you're right. I don't know what to say. I'm guilty. I mean, I say incredible, unbelievable, and he says he's right. I mean, if you take me literally, you'll say, well, wait a minute, you just said what you said was unbelievable. And speaking of how I say it, Mike wants to try something here. Go ahead, Mike.
All right, guys, I want to talk to you about Vivax Pros.
He thinks he's imitating me. Go ahead.
Vivax Pros. I always say you're going to say, wow, 3 times when you choose Vivax. First, you're going to say, wow, when you come there and you get the free estimate and you see the price. Second, you're going to say, wow, when the guys come and start diligently working on your house. And third, you're going to say, wow, when you do the final walkthrough and you don't pay until you're satisfied. Vivax Pros. Mark, give me the info.
Okay. Wait, but see what Mike called in because he truly used Vivax, right? Did you use them?
Yeah, they did great. I went off your referral list.
Thank you.
I tell you what, it was
Thank you, man.
Thanks.
Spread the word about that. And by the way, so he said to Suzanne, I used Vivax off the referral list. I love them, and I want to do it like Tom would do it. So then he was supposedly imitating me. So anyway, Wayne, you have a comment. You have a comment about that summons that was sent to that kid. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, you know, I think I heard there toward the end that he'd started a business and the money wasn't coming in, so I was kind of curious if he had put the business in an LLC or if it was in his...
Even if he did, I guarantee his debt was in his name.
Yeah, he's not going to protect it. I mean, in a single-member LLC, well...
There's not a bank or a creditor nowadays that's going to give you a loan under the LLC owner.
No, I think what Wayne was saying, well, Wayne, were you saying as far as the debt, if they can go after his LLC?
Well, no, if he had set up an LLC, it's hard for them to go after him.
Yeah, but on the debt he personally
you're
signed.
Right. But Wayne, Mark's right. I in fact, almost every corporation, every LLC, and every partnership has to do personal guarantees unless you're like General Electric or
Microsoft.
You know what I mean? or a relatively large corporation.
I thought they were going to go
I imagine Plumline Services or these other companies, or do you think they even give personal guarantees? I mean,
I think so.
What do you think, John? How big do you think you have to be not to give personal guarantees? Maybe publicly traded?
No, I think it just depends on the bank's own lending guidelines, because if you're using these smaller banks that have, you know, ownership groups that just mandate that they have personal guarantees on almost everything.
Yeah, now, but I doubt, like, you know, some of these major corporations give personal guarantees.
Probably not.
You might be able to get secured debt under only the LLC, but who cares? It's secured.
All right. Do we have time for another? Is someone on the other line there, Suzanne, or is that just a dead end there?
I think that's dead, Tom.
Okay. So John Fuller, Fuller Law, when he's not here, I just want to tell you where you can reach him. 303-597-4500, 303-597-4500, or Fuller or personalinjuryco.com, personalinjuryco.com. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Where did you get I've seen 2 or 3 of these polo shirts with you. Do you actually play polo?
No, they're just polo shirts.
I mean, but I haven't seen them ever before.
They're nice.
Yeah, but I've never
helped him pick it out.
Because she buys
Look at the size of the polo emblem on that.
That's the new thing,
You
bro.
can see that on... Yeah, you remember the old polo,
it's
Ralph
the new
Lauren?
Thing. What's wrong with
My
it?
God, it's the size of a...
Jack, what did you want to say about selling used cars? I got to stop, Mark. What did you want to say?
What I got is, if I sell a used car to somebody,
yeah,
you'll honestly know, if I sell it to them and then later on it needs
$2,000 worth of work on this $500 car. Am I responsible?
No, not if you sell it as is and make that very clear.
As long as it's not an emissions problem.
Yeah, you're not responsible for anything but emissions. Unless you sell it as a towaway, then you're responsible for nothing. Remember, folks, save all your problems for me.
I just want to say thanks to all of you because millions of people just...
Oh, really? His girlfriend sold a car like $3,000, said, hey, it's not going to pass emissions. It needs this. We'll knock $500 off if you still want it. They said, yeah, we still want it. 7 days later, they come back and said, give us our money back.
But he didn't do it as a towaway.
No, he did it as a regular
Yeah, he had to
car.
do it as a towaway, and then you're not required.
Oh, I know. I called up Bob, the car guy, to verify that 3 days is only for dealers and vouchers, which it is. Here's the part that Bob told me that blows me away. You realize...
Well, it was 2 weeks later.
2 weeks. Bob said, technically, if they hired a lawyer, it could have been 1.5 years later, and they could still get a full refund.
Well, they never would have got a license. Well, no, yeah, but how would they have been driving around?
Well, they wouldn't have, but I mean, that's my whole point. If you bought it and garaged it for 1.5 years, if you sell